Welcome to the Poshmark course. I'm excited that you're here because you've just joined a program that can help you turn one of the fastest growing resale platforms into a real business or, a very profitable side hustle minimum. So why Poshmark? Well, Poshmark started as a fashion focused resale app, but it has since then grown into one of the most trusted and one of the most underrated marketplaces for not just clothes, but accessories, home goods, decor, and so much more, as you'll see in this course. It is built on a community model where buyers and sellers are constantly interacting, and that means that your listings have a real chance to get noticed if you play the game the right way. Now, you don't have to do that, and I'm also going to tell you ways that you can automate that so you don't have to do that, have served me for 6-7 years on the platform and a ton of people that I've taught. But it is good to understand how the actual platform works so you can interact if you do want to manually as well. Now, millions of people shop here every month, and the platform is still wide open for sellers who know how to take advantage of all the built-in features. And obviously, that's what we're going to learn here in this course, on top of other, sourcing strategies, how to actually make a ton of money on this platform, and the list goes on and on. Now, it's also a great place to start, in my opinion, because of its simplicity. So they give you things like prepaid shipping labels, how to handle payment processing, and they built in protections for both buyers and sellers alike, which I absolutely love. This I've sold on every platform for the past decade, roughly, and I've dropshipped, I've bought liquidation, I've done wholesale, I've literally done everything on every platform, and hands down, in my opinion, Poshmark is one of the simplest, and it protects its sellers, which I absolutely love. Now, all you need to do is source products, then create the listings, and then get them in front of the shoppers. And that is exactly what we're going to cover in this course, step by step, with a ton of different methods so that you can pick the best one for you. Now, here's the best part, in my opinion. It is still a massive opportunity as well. So while platforms like eBay or Amazon can feel overwhelming and overcrowded, Poshmark has a strong community and a strong vibe that has less competition compared to those other giant e-com platforms. Plus, the resale industry is absolutely booming, and shoppers today are not only comfortable buying secondhand, they're actively looking for deals, unique finds, and they're more comfortable than ever purchasing online, which puts you in a perfect position to profit on this platform. Now, throughout this course, I'm going to show you exactly how you can set up your account, how to create SEO-friendly listings that actually get found and get sales, what shipping supplies to use, what tools to use to save you time and money, how to automate, everything with software to give you a huge and massive advantage, and even how to source free or cheap inventory to maximize your margins, especially in the beginning as a beginner. You will learn the exact strategies that I personally use and have taught in the past to others to build sustainable, profitable Poshmark businesses, whether you want to scale it up or just do it as a side hustle, both work well. Now, whether you're here to make some extra cash, like I said, on the side, or you're aiming to scale into something bigger, this course will give you the roadmap to that. Poshmark is a platform full of potential, and you are in the perfect place to take advantage of it right now. So let's dive in, and I'll show you exactly how you can turn Poshmark into a business opportunity that's going to work for you right from your home. When you're selling on Poshmark, one of the biggest mistakes that you can make is thinking that all you need to do is upload a few photos, add a quick description, and then set your price. The truth is, if you want your items to actually be seen and purchased, you need to apply and understand good SEO. So what does SEO mean in the context of Poshmark? Well, at its core, SEO is about using the right words in your titles and your descriptions, and obviously in the tags that they give you, so that your listings show up when buyers search for them, right? And it's not just when buyers search for them, it'll also matter specifically when you're sharing, because they'll be more suggested and they'll be categorized a lot better. Think about how you personally shop on the app. You don't type cute sweater into the search bar, you type free people oversized cream sweater, right? Or whatever the case is, or Nike dry fit running shorts. And your buyers are doing the same thing. So if your listing doesn't include those specific keywords, it might not appear in the search results, or it might not appear as high, thus not giving you a better chance to then sell it, right? No matter how nice your photos are or how well you're priced at. And that is why SEO is so powerful. By intentionally adding the brand name, the style, the color, the size, and the item type into your description, into your title, you're making your listing more searchable. Instead of competing blindly against thousands of other generic listings, you are putting your product directly in front of the exact people that are searching for it, right? SEO doesn't just help inside Poshmark either. It also matters outside the platform. So for instance, Google and other search engines often index Poshmark listings, and that means that somebody that's searching for Lululemon Align leggings in black size 6 on Google, well, your listing, if it fits that, could appear, right? And that is free traffic and potential sales that people who may not have never opened the Poshmark app might then otherwise go ahead and do that and then purchase from you, right? So it's not just on Poshmark, it is everywhere. And the difference between a listing that sells quickly and one that sits for months often comes down to SEO, right? So two sellers can have the same exact jacket, right? And the same exact price even. But the seller who lists it with better SEO is often going to beat the seller who doesn't do that, because they're going to show up higher in search and higher in suggested, and their listing is going to get seen by more potential buyers, thus ultimately getting the sale. So when you're creating listings, always think like the buyer, right? Ask yourself, what would somebody type into the search bar if they wanted this exact item? Then make sure that those words are in your title and sprinkle naturally throughout your description. And that simple shift will then get you more visibility, more clicks, and ultimately more sales. And the good thing about it now is obviously you can do that yourself and just look from other listings online if you'd like. But with AI, it can do it for you. So if you just tell it exactly what it is and tell it to write out a good SEO'd out description, it will do that, and you don't really need to do much of the work. All right, so obviously this entire course is teaching you how to sell well on Poshmark, right? But why should you listen to me? Do I even have experience? Do I even have proof of concept that I have sold well on Poshmark over time, right? And so I wanted to create this lecture, not to brag or anything like that, but just to show you like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I've sold a ton on Poshmark. I've been on it for a while. So as you could see, sold, 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 sold. Sold, 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 sold. And I could literally do this for hours just going down my sales, obviously. But again, I just wanted to kind of show you proof of concept that I know what I'm doing, all right? So this is my second Poshmark account. I do have another one, but the whole key concept here is that I obviously know what I'm doing. I obviously have sales. And again, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm showing you that I do know what I'm talking about. I'm speaking from experience. I'm not telling you this, hey, this is what you should do. This is what I've heard works well on Poshmark. No, this is what's worked for me well on Poshmark. And I really hope that it helps you as well, right? So I'm speaking from experience. This is what's worked for me. Again, not telling you what I've heard about. This is what actually works for me. Not a year from now, not 5 years from now, not a year ago, not 5 years ago, but literally right now, still today, right? So let's scroll down. As you can see, tons of sales, tons of sales, tons of sales, right? And again, we could do this for literally hours, all right? So I really hope that it helps. With that being said, let's jump into the rest of the course. I just kind of wanted to show you some proof of concept that I do know what I'm talking about, and I do know how to make sales on Poshmark. So this is why you should obviously, listen to me, right? I'm not just some random Joe Schmo. I do have experience. All right, so shipping supplies, this is everything that you're going to need to know. So Poshmark used to have 100% priority mail shipping, right? So everything that happened on the platform would be priority mail. As a buyer, you were kind of forced to pay priority mail, and it was a benefit and a drawback, obviously. And now they've kind of moved a little bit more towards USPS Ground Advantage, so it's not priority mail, right? The reason I'm telling you that is because what you used to do is you used to be able to get free shipping supplies because everything on the platform was shipped priority mail. So you would just come to USPS.com, you go to Quick Tools, you obviously sign up for an account, you go to free boxes, you'd come down and you get unlimited free boxes all the time, right? And I still recommend that you do this because if for whatever reason the customer on Poshmark, they have the opportunity, of course, to upgrade their label to priority mail. I still get some priority mails from time to time. Then these are going to be free shipping supplies that you can still utilize, right? However, the vast majority now are not priority mail. So the vast majority you're going to have to actually pay for with the shipping supplies that we'll cover here in a second, right? Now, if you're on Poshmark and you have an upgrade, what I would say is get a bunch of these padded envelopes. I have probably hundreds of these down in my basement, and I still use them from time to time. These are good too, these priority mail flat rate envelopes. These are both really small, but they fit a ton of different things. Clothing, smaller, toys, smaller items. They fit a bunch. Then get a vast majority of the different boxes, right? So get these like side loading medium boxes, the medium box flat right here. You get a few small ones if you want, although the majority of ones that will fit in the small one will also fit in the envelope, so you probably don't need to do that. I would get a large mailbox as well, and then a few of the other sizes as well. Just get a bunch of these packs. They are 100% free. You don't have to pay for them as long as you're using priority mail, okay? So these are for when your labels show up as priority mail on Poshmark, okay? But 95% plus probably of your labels now will not be priority mail, and you will obviously see that when you print it out. It will tell you USPS Ground Advantage, priority mail, whatever it is. If it's priority mail, then by all means use these ones. Now, little caveat, only use the red ones. See how all of these are red with like the red lines? If you see the blue lines, do not use the ones with blue lines. These are red lines. These are red lines, red lines, red lines, blue line. Don't use the blue lines. Blue line. Don't use the blue lines, right? And as you scroll through, you'll see more blue lines. The difference is the red ones are priority mail. The blue ones are priority mail express. So if you ship in a priority mail express and you only have priority mail, they'll return it to you. They won't ship it because you need to pay more for this, right? So do not ship with the blue lines, only ship with the ones with the red lines. And again, get the padded envelope mailers and just the envelope mailers as well as some of the boxes in a bunch of different sizes. Again, that way, if you get priority mail, you will have free shipping supplies and you don't need to worry about it. All these close automatically as well. The boxes you do need to tape, but these close automatically, so you don't need to pay any, like tape or anything. It's literally free shipping, okay? Now, because Poshmark has moved and a large majority of them are not priority mail anymore, you're going to need to actually pay for your own shipping supplies. Now, I'm going to give you a ton of different options. I'm going to give you some free options. The best options that I found are all right here. So in my opinion, the best options, hands down, are, especially when you're shipping non-priority, are poly mailers, right? Get a bunch of different poly mailer sizes. They are stupidly cheap, especially when you just buy them in bulk. And you can get big ones as well. Like I buy these ones all the time, so the 24-inch by 24-inch. You can fit a ton of different things in here. You can fit big things in here. You can fit massive things in here. And they work. And they obviously also close on their own, so you don't need to tape them, which makes them super convenient. I've gotten the small ones. I've gotten the big ones. Every size in between. Play around with poly mailers. I will link all of these things that I'm going to recommend to this lecture as well. But play around with these. They're easy to ship. They're easy to close. And they're just super convenient. And they make your when you actually get sales, they make it look professional, right? So it's easy on you. It looks professional. You can't go wrong. And again, I will link all these to this lecture. Now, the next thing that you should get are some bulk tape, right? The reason I'm saying that is you don't want to go out and buy tape like this. Like if you're going to like Staples or you're paying for tape like this on Amazon, like that might look cheap, right? $11 for 6 of these. These things don't have much tape on them. They are super convenient with the red thing. So if you do have one of these red things, by all means use it and then just put your tape in that red thing. It's super easy to use. But you don't want to buy the tape here because you're going to be paying a premium for it and you don't want to do that. You are going to be using a ton of tape if you're starting to get a ton of sales, right? So, and that's a good thing, right? Because you want a ton of sales, but you're obviously going to need to pay for poly mailers or boxes and tape to obviously secure those things so that you can ship them. And again, that's a good problem to have. So do not buy tape like this. Instead, I recommend that you buy bulk tape. This is literally the one that I buy all the time, and I will link this as well. So just buy it in bulk. You don't need any dispensers or anything that comes with it. Just buy bulk tape. Whatever you want to do, I buy this one. And then what I recommend is just get a tape dispenser, whether you want one in your hand. I find that this is easier because you can rip off pieces and tape boxes a lot easier. The one in your hand, you have to like kind of like press it down to release the tape and cut it. And if you're using something like a poly mailer, that often cuts into the poly mailer. You don't want that. So I like this one. It works better. Again, I'll link this as well, but get something like this, the tape dispenser and bulk tape, and you're going to be good for months, right? And then again, it looks like it's expensive, but you don't need to re-up ever again. Like it's going to be months from now where you have to re-up from this. And ultimately you're going to be paying, so much littler because you're buying it in bulk and you're not paying for those red like cutters that come automatically on it. You're just buying it in bulk. And then get yourself a dispenser like this. It works really well. And it's going to make, again, shipping out convenient because it's not just necessarily about the cost, although that is super important. It's also about the convenience and the ease of the shipping, right? Your process when you're shipping, you want it to be fast. You want it to be, you don't want it to be a hassle. You want it to be convenient, and this makes it convenient and it's also affordable, all right? Now, the next thing, obviously, you want poly mailers, you want bulk tape and a tape dispenser. One thing that you want to use is you can use a normal printer if you want, right? Like if you're just starting and you don't feel like going out and buying a label printer or a thermal printer, then you can use a printer. I probably used my own printer, just like a normal like DeskJet HP printer for the first year. But ultimately, that's not what you want to do for a ton of different reasons. First and foremost, every single time you print a label out, you're going to have to cut it out, which takes time. And it might not sound like it's a lot. It takes time to cut it out. And then it takes time to obviously tape it with your tape onto the actual package. And it doesn't secure as well with the tape on the package as if you did it with labels, right? So what I would recommend is instead of using a printer, because with a printer, you're going to have to pay for ink all the time, which is stupidly expensive, right? Even cheap ink is stupidly expensive. And you constantly have to buy paper. I mean, literally, look at this. I stopped buying this on purpose. I still buy it because I still print stuff out, but I don't print as much paper for labels anymore. I purchased this so many times. Just one of these, like you re-up this like every single month, $63, right? It makes no freaking sense. You think you're saving money, but realistically, you're not. You're paying more and you're spending more time because you're not buying a thermal label printer. So what you want to do is you want to buy a thermal label printer. Again, if you don't want to do that in the beginning, that's fine, but I would recommend, save you time, save you money in the long run. It looks expensive, but it's going to save you a ton of money because this is this is the one that I recommend. There are other cheaper options out there. Like if you scroll down anywhere, realistically, you can find one that's like 56. I have one from TikTok Shop that's like $45. But the cheaper ones don't work as well. They jam frequently, which is a freaking headache, and they break, right? This one's tried and true. Between this and the Dymo, those are the two that are recommended across the board for resellers, for dropshippers, for pretty much everybody that resells across the board. It's either a Rollo or a Dymo. The Rollo is the cheaper option, but I think realistically it works as well. That's why I recommend it. The Dymo's anywhere from $250 to $300 depending on the model that you're getting. So you're saving $100. You don't need to spend that much, in my opinion. I would just go with the Rollo here. This one works great. Again, I'll link it to this lecture for you. And this is going to allow you to print out shipping labels, which are these bad boys, right? And they just literally rip off, as you can see, like if we click in this, they just rip off right here and then they stick to the actual package. It's super easy to use them. It prints directly from the actual thermal printer. And not only do you not need to tape them because they stick and they stay on packages very easily, which is like basically when you order from Amazon, this is what they're using, right? They're sticking the label onto your package. That's what you're getting, right? So you should be using these and a thermal printer like this, and then you don't need to ever pay for ink again. This is a waste of money. Don't do this. One of these is $63. One of these is $160. And depending on the time that you're buying it, you might get it on sale or whatever. And it's going to save you money in the long run. If you plan on selling for even a few months, like this, 3 months of this is that already, right? Is more than that already. So if you plan on selling for more than 3 months, you might as well just buy this because then you don't ever have to pay for paper again, which is expensive. You don't ever have to pay for ink again, which is expensive, right? Instead, you just buy the thermal label printer. It literally uses heat. It burns the label in there. So it's using electricity. You don't have to pay for expensive ink. And it's more convenient because you can just pull this thing off and stick it to your boxes. You don't need to tape it and cut it out every time, which is going to save you a ton of time, right? If you have 20 orders a day, that's a lot of cutting and taping, and it's probably going to take you 30 minutes to do that. Realistically, you don't want to have to do that. I'm telling you, right? If you don't listen to me, that's fine. You can, again, cut costs in the beginning or what you think is cutting costs. But there's going to become a time where a month from now, 2 months from now, you're going to be sick of cutting labels and taping them and wasting money, and come back and buy the Rollo and get you some labels, right? So that's what I'd recommend. Don't use a normal printer unless you super want to in the beginning. You're not ready to upgrade. Use instead a thermal label printer. It's a game changer. The moment I decided to do this, I was so grateful. That was like 3 years ago, and I really wish I did it sooner. One of the best things I've done for my e-commerce business, just in general. Now, this one is the best. Like I said, you're also going to want to potentially look in something like this. I have one just like this. It just holds the labels for you so that it kind of rolls through the printer. That way it doesn't get caught. Because if you try to stick it on the side, or you try to stick it upside, like on its side like this way, or like up and down like the other way, it doesn't roll, right? And so you're going to constantly get jams. Don't do that. This is a cheap solution. Just get one of these that holds it, and then it will roll out. And when it's done, it will just kind of roll out. You don't have to worry about it. So get something that's going to hold your labels. Get the label printer. And then obviously get the labels. Now, I buy these all the time because they're convenient. And again, they're stupidly cheap. Like you get a bunch here for this amount. 450 labels, that comes out to like so cheap. There used to be a thing on UPS. Like if you go to ups.com, they might still have it where you can get free ones. So I would check that. For whatever reason, the past like 6 months or so, they haven't been there. So if you sign in, you actually need an account, right? You log in, you go to like shipping products and services. I forget the exact way to get there, right? But you just go to like the shipping supplies. And if you have an account on UPS, they will send you one free roll of these. I think it's like every month or every other month. But again, for whatever reason, they're not there anymore, at least at the time of recording this 6 months ago. Up until now, which is why I started buying them. But again, they're still stupidly cheap. So try UPS first. You can get them for free, hopefully. And if not, just come back to Amazon or somewhere else. Again, I'll link these, the ones that I literally buy. These work really, really well. All right. And you're going to want the 4x6s, okay? You don't want other sizes, the 4x6s. And now, the last thing here is you can also, in the beginning, like I recommend buying the poly mailers or using the, any types of boxes like that because it looks professional, right? But if you want to, and you're trying to cut costs in the beginning, everybody has a ton of Amazon boxes, whether you're drop shipping or whether you're ordering, just resale supplies, or you're just ordering for yourself anyway. Like everybody has Amazon boxes. So reusing them is an option for free. Like you can put your products back in the Amazon boxes and tape them up. It doesn't always look the best and it doesn't always look super professional. And you could, get an annoyed customer or a customer that, you might suffer rating wise, right? But sometimes you got to do what you got to do to keep costs low, especially in the beginning. And I get that. I use them from time to time, especially for like specific items that are a specific size and, convenient or whatever. So you can use Amazon boxes. However, if you do that, then you might want to look into some Google on here. What this is if you're having labels on your boxes that say like your name or, something else that are tough to get off because of the glue, then just put a little Goo Gone on it, leave it for like a minute or two, come back and it'll peel right off. So you don't need much. This goes a long way, like a little goes a long way. Just a little bit of this works really, really well. So put some Goo Gone on it. Again, give it a few minutes, come back, it will, chip right off. Now, one more thing that I didn't put on here that will help you. You don't need it because you can just use like a knife or scissors and kind of nick it away. But one of those things, it's like a scraper for labels. I forget what they're called. Label scraper. I have a bunch. These things right here. Label and sticker remover. This is literally the same one I have. So I'll link this one for you as well. These things work so well. They just like slide, especially with the Goo Gone, they slide the label right up and then it peels right off. So these things are perfect. So that's what I would look into if you plan on using Amazon boxes. Get some Goo Gone. Get some of the sticker remover, but ideally you'd use some poly mailers. You would, again, get some bulk tape and a dispenser, and you would get a label thermal printer with some labels and a holder, all right? So that's everything that I use to ship. It's what works best for me. Highly recommend all these, and they will all be linked to this lecture. Now, one of the most important things that you need to understand about Poshmark is it's a share-for-share culture. On this platform, sharing is everything, and the more you share your listings, the more other sellers will share your items back to their own followers. And this doesn't just increase your exposure to your existing audience, it opens up your visibility to a completely new buyer base that are outside your followers. So that's obviously massively important, but here's the key point as well. Sharing doesn't just help with visibility in other people's feeds, it also directly impacts how high your items appear in search results, okay? So for example, let's say a buyer searches for white wool gloves, because I always use that example when I cover exactly why you should share on this platform. The platform doesn't just show the best listings or the most relevant listings first. Instead, it sorts it for most recently listed or most recently shared. And that means that if you're not consistently sharing your items, they will slowly sink lower and lower in search results, making them practically invisible on the platform. But if you're sharing often, then your items are going to pop back up to the top and get way more organic visibility without you having to pay for ads or do anything else, right? And as you might expect, more visibility equals more sales. Now, here's the problem. Nobody in their right mind wants to sit around all day manually sharing in their closet. When I first started Poshmark, like 8, 9, it feels like 8 years ago now, roughly, you used to have to share manually pretty much, right? And it was terrible. You had to sit in front of your phone or your computer all day, 6 to 8 hours a day, just clicking share, share, share over and over again. But that is not a business, right? That's torture in my opinion. And that is exactly where automation software comes in. Automation tools like the one that I will show you in the very next lecture will handle all the sharing for you completely safely. They're going to handle your listings on a schedule. They will send offers to likers to drive more sales and simulate urgency. They will basically keep your closet active and visible and getting sales without you having to lift a finger. Instead of obviously wasting your time clicking buttons all day and clicking share, you can focus on what actually matters, which is sourcing more products, figuring out what's actually selling, creating better listings, and growing your business and collecting more money. And let's be clear on one common concern, because I get pushback on this whenever I say it to, not all the time, but definitely with some people. But using a bot is not risky, okay? The truth is Poshmark has been aware of automation tools for years, okay? When I first started, like I said, like 7-8 years ago, whatever it was, I think I've used like 6 or 7 bots now, and they've gotten progressively better up until the one that we're going to talk about in the next lecture. But they've never once cracked down on it in any meaningful way, even back then, especially now, right? Because at the end of the day, Poshmark knows that it's going on, but they only really care about keeping their buyers happy and their sellers active so that they can collect more money. And as long as, this is the only caveat, as long as you're a good seller who provides quality products, ships on time, and takes care of your customers, which is all things that you will learn in this course, then they don't really care if you use automation to share your closet. It's really that simple. So here's the bottom line. If you are not sharing, you're not competing. It's that simple, all right? That is how Poshmark works. You have 2 options. You can either spend 8 hours a day manually sharing, or you can let automation handle it for you, completely automatically for you, right? It is that simple. So in the next lecture, I will walk you through how to use Posh Sidekick, which is the automation bot that I personally recommend. You will see how I set mine up. I will show you it on the app on my actual phone. It will handle all the heavy lifting for you so you can actually build a business without burning yourself out.
So this is going to be a brief Posh Sidekick tutorial. Once you download Posh Sidekick, it all happens natively on your phone automatically, so you no longer have to manage anything. I used to use Simple Posher, still do in conjunction with this, but Simple Posher is 90%, maybe 95% automated. You still have to kind of auto capture some things. You still have to make sure that it's running, that it didn't get stopped, that it didn't lag out. It's great, don't get me wrong. Obviously, it costs $10. This is a next step up in a lot of ways because it allows you to auto share all day. You don't have to focus on it yourself. You can just let it do its job. It also will auto offer, which is another really cool feature. So as you can see on mine, if we click into the shares, we go last 7 days. It's shared roughly 9,000 every single day, which is what I set it to. Self shares is pretty much all of those. Community shares is a little bit more from parties. It's only done 200 today, so obviously we'll pick that back up. But I did just shut this off because I'm going to be on vacation for about a week, so it's probably not sharing as many today for that reason as well. You can also have it unfollow as well. You could also see how much revenue it's brought in for that specific day with those bar charts. You could also have it make offers. So if you click into the offers, you can see how many offers it made and what revenue was as a result of those specific offers. It's a great product. It's automated completely. You don't have to focus on it, right? So if you want to set this up, you can sign up through the link attached to this lecture. If you want to see the activities that your actual closet has done, you can go to activities on the bottom and scroll through and see how many offers it's made, how many follows it's initiated, how many shares, and what it's shared specifically, right? If you want to make sure that you set it up correctly, just click settings up in the top left right there. So that little settings icon, then you can select how you want it to actually operate, right? So do you want it to self share? Do you want it to party share? You don't want it to share from parties, you just X that off. You don't want it to share from communities, you want it to all be self shared, then you just obviously uncheck that, right? If you want it to share back, you toggle that on. It's very self-explanatory. You can also set it to randomized sharing order, share by category. So I typically have it self share only. I will toggle party share on every once in a while and community share on every once in a while just to change it up. But usually speaking, I just have self share on, randomized sharing, and I have it up to 9K. You don't have to start there. If you have a closet with, a few hundred listings or a few thousand listings in the beginning, don't share that much. Totally fine. Especially if you're just starting to share that much, you definitely don't want to do that. So I would start slow for about a week, then medium for the next week on week 2, and then up it to 9 on week 3. Obviously, if you're just getting into sharing and using share bots, right? But I obviously have it up to the 9K because I've been doing it for a while. I also have it unfollowing people. I don't have it following. I don't have it following back. I have it unfollowing people just because I've followed so many people in the past thinking that that was a good strategy. It doesn't really matter anymore on the way that Poshmark is set up right now. So don't really worry about it too much. If you want to make bundle offers to likers, you could also set that up. I don't do that because I drop dropship product, so I want to maintain my margin on every single product that I'm making an offer for. But I do have it offering to likers. So if you have it offering to likers, it will go through your actual products, the people that have liked that listing. It will make auto offers to those people based on who's actually liked that listing. So it is a game changer because obviously it increases urgency for the timed offer, but it also decreases the price as well based on what you set it as. So it's going to increase your sales with these timed offers, the people that are clearly interested in that product. It's a game changer, okay? So if you want to do that, you just toggle on offers to likers. You can set the listing percentage discount. Again, if you're drop shipping, if you're not drop shipping, then obviously this doesn't matter to you clearly. But if you are drop shipping, then you want to make sure that your percentage that you're offering is accounted for in your profit margin, right? Because if you're only marking your products up, say 30% or 40%, and Poshmark is taking that high fee already, you're not really going to have much built-in margin to make more offers percentage to likers, right? So make sure you're marking your products up enough initially ahead of time. I typically mark mine up 75%, so I have plenty of wiggle room in my margin to make these offers to likers, and that's why I suggest that. So you could set it to whatever you want there, percentage-based wise. The lowest amount that you can set, I believe, is 10%. The lowest amount of shipping discount you can offer is $4.99, and so those two are the lowest that I have set in there. I typically have send intervals every 5 minutes. You could change that if you wanted to. You can make it 15 minutes. 30 minutes, an hour. I typically like to make the most offers possible, so I have the send intervals at 5 minutes, right? If you want to make offers for specific categories or set specific rules, you can do that. I don't really do that. And you can also set it to make counter offers if people make offers to you as well. Now, I relist products as well. I make sure that that's the way that I can obviously keep items fresh. If they're sitting at the bottom of my closet and they haven't necessarily got a share in a while, I'll make sure to relist them. It's just a different way to get more visibility on products that have kind of died out and haven't really got much sales. Although keep in mind that if you're not monitoring your stock levels, you may or may not want to toggle this on or off based on the fact that like maybe those products have gone out of stock or changed prices if it's been a long time. So keep that in mind. Although I use it, if it starts to be a problem, just turn it off. I'd recommend that you start with it. Again, you could always cancel that order if you need to, and then just turn it off. No big deal, right? And you can see as you scroll through here, it's really self-explanatory. Do you want to share? Automatically? If so, how much? If so, when? To who? To what? To parties, right? Or whatever. Do you want to make offers? Again, just toggle that on. Do you want it to auto follow? Toggle that on. And as you go through the settings, it's really easy, really self-explanatory to set that up. Another really cool thing that they have in the app and actually on their website is tutorials. So if you need tutorials of how to actually set this up yourself, just go to the website or go to the app. You can watch all the tutorials as well, and they'll walk you through literally everything. But I can't recommend this app enough. This is great. It's the best app that I found to automate the sharing and the likers of your closet and make those automated offers to likers, Can't recommend this enough. This in conjunction with Simple Posture have driven my sales through the roof.
All right, so I want to cover really fast how to get free stuff to sell. Now, obviously, there's a large majority of ways that you can do this, right? So first and foremost, we're going to cover drop shipping later on in the course. That's an easy way that you can get a ton of free stuff to sell, and you don't obviously need to acquire the inventory ahead of time. But I want to give you some other ideas here, things that I've used in the past a ton, and ways that you can also get free stuff to sell. This is perfect for literally anybody, but of course the people that, you know, don't have a ton of funds to start in the beginning and are just kind of looking to start with that nest egg, build up an initial nest egg of like a few $100 to $1,000 with some free items that they're going to get. These are some great options for you, okay? And all of these as well are anecdotal, and they're things that I do myself or have done in the past as well. So I'm not just telling you could do these things. These are literally things that I have done and often still do depending on which one. All right. So the first one is going to be cashback sites. This is a perfect example of a cashback site. It's called Rebate Key. So as you can see here, what Rebate Key is and what a cashback website is you sign up for this website, and these are going to be sellers on Amazon that have products, right? And you can see this one's free after a rebate, 100% off. This one's 97% off, and so on and so forth, right? Depending on when you sign up for this and when you actually sign on, a lot of the deals will go fast in the beginning and in the morning, right? And so you can sign up, you can claim a bunch of stuff and then get, you know, your money back 100% or a lot of your money back 100%. Like this red light therapy right here, you could probably sell this for, you know, it retails for 68, it's saying on Amazon. If you even listed this at like $50 or $40 and undercut that Amazon listing on Poshmark or on Mercari or Facebook, like wherever you want to list it, obviously, right? Wherever you're planning to resell this back or multiple websites, you could list this and then resell it, you know, very easily. And you only had to pay $2 for it, right? So those are perfect examples of things that you can obviously acquire. Now, the way that this works is, like I said, these are Amazon sellers, right? And their whole goal here is to get a review and get sales to rank their listings. So when you're an Amazon seller, there's two things that are going to move your listing up in search results and up in the pages ranking against other products. And that's ultimately how you're going to get organic sales in the future in perpetuity and get a bunch of organic sales in the future is by ranking your products. So they're trying to give their products away. You're going to buy their product, right? And then after that, they're going to refund you the set amount. So this person's going to refund you the whole amount. This person's going to refund you 97%. This person's 84%, and you get the picture, right? There's a bunch of options, a bunch of products on this website, but there are also a ton of other websites. We'll talk about them here in a second. So how it works essentially is you'd sign up, you click on this after signing up, you would start the treasure hunt. Depending on how the seller set it up, it would tell you as soon as you click this to, okay, here's how you want to do it. You want to go and search for this specific keyword on Amazon, find this specific product. Then you would buy the product, you would come back, and you don't have to actually review the product. It used to be that you had to review the product, but now they can't force you to do that. So you can buy the product, give them your order ID number on Amazon to prove that you actually purchased the product, and then they will refund you as long as you don't return it within 35 days. So 35 days later, they'll give you a full refund. So you do need to front the money ahead of time, obviously, or put it on a credit card. But 35 days later, they will refund you in full, and all this is kept track of in the back end of Rebate Key, right? So sometimes you'll have to actually search for the product so that they can get credit for you searching for a specific keyword. Again, they will tell you all that stuff when you say go to Marketplace and buy product here. It will literally tell you what to do. So boom, it will tell me. Let me show you here in a second. Sometimes it will just give you the direct link to the product. Other times it will tell you, look, search for red light therapy on Amazon, find this specific product. And the reason that they're doing that is because they want to rank higher for red light therapy on Amazon because that's a big search term, right? And then 35 days later, I will get, 97% of my $68 back. I would then input by verifying here. It's just next step. I would input my order ID number. I would buy the product and then prove it. And then 35 days later, they would give me the refund depending on what they agreed to, right? And all of this is kept track of right here in your dashboard, right? So upcoming payouts, disputes, and then obviously messages between you and the seller. And if they, for whatever reason, don't refund you the money that they were supposed to, you can just reach out to Rebate Key. Rebate Key will often... And if for whatever reason they don't refund you the money, you can just reach out to Rebate Key, the website, and Rebate Key will either prompt them to refund you the money or they will refund you the money automatically themselves. So you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Rebate Key acts as the middleman. These cashback websites act as the middleman. And again, you don't have to keep track of it. You used to, way in the past, you used to have to keep track of all this stuff on a spreadsheet and make sure that these people were paying you out. You don't have to do that because these websites will do it for you, okay? Now, why is the refund in 35 days? Well, the refund is in 35 days because you can return a product on Amazon for 30 days, right? So often, if you don't return the product, then obviously that seller will see it and they'll refund you, right? And they'll refund you on a Rebate Key and give you your money back, right? Depending on whatever the rebate was. But if you return the product on Amazon, then they'll see that because you could purchase the product and then return it, and then they're going to give you free money, right? So that they obviously don't want that. They want you to keep the product because they want credit for the sale and you keeping the product and then potentially getting a review as well. You can review these products. You don't have to, but that's how it kind of works, right? See how it keeps track of all this stuff. You can cancel the purchase. It will tell you if they refunded you and the status of it and everything else, right? So this is a great website where the sellers are obviously gaining advantage because they're getting sales and ranking for specific keywords and potentially reviews. If you want to review a few, that's fine. I wouldn't review all of them. You don't have to. And you're obviously getting free products that you can resell. Now, I always get a question here, like as we continue hunting for this and we go to the next one. Well, let's go back to a different one here. Let me show you. So as you click into this, it does say a few parameters, right? So let's go buy this product. Oh, it took me. So that's a perfect example of it just linking directly to the product right there where you'd actually buy it. Like when you actually click into some of these, it's going to tell you don't resell the product. The reason it's saying that is because a way in the past that you could make really good money is you'd get this product for free or at a heavy discount, then resell it back on the same Amazon listing, okay? So as long as you're not reselling these back on Amazon, then you won't run into issues, okay? You can resell them back on any other marketplace, just not Amazon. So don't worry about the no resell clause on here. It just means don't resell them back on Amazon, all right? But this is a great example of a website, Rebate Key in this specific example, that's a cashback website that you can get free products or heavily discounted products to resell for a ridiculously high profit margin. It doesn't cost you a ton. You just have to front the money and then you'll get it all back or most of it back. Now, here's a list of other cashback websites, and rebate websites, okay? Now, keep in mind with a lot of these, I used to do this heavily in the past. Like 5-6 years ago, I used to do a ton of online arbitrage, and I would get like literally thousands of products on all these websites. So these have changed. A ton of these have changed. Like some of them might not be around anymore. Some of them might, still be around, like Rebate Key, obviously. Some of them might have changed, right? So don't just take this list and try these and be like, oh, some of these don't work anymore, and only Rebate Key or Extreme Rebate work or whatever. Try all of these websites that are listed here, and if they don't work, go with the ones that do, and then also ask ChatGPT, Google other ones, right? Like I'm not going to go out and do product research for you and find all the newest websites every single month, but they're constantly popping up because there's constantly Amazon sellers that are looking for people like this, and there's constantly other entrepreneurs that are trying to start websites to charge Amazon sellers to give you free products so that they can rank, right? So new ones are launching constantly, so you're going to have to constantly, depending on when you're watching this and when you're starting this course, you're going to want to constantly try to search out every month, find new websites. They're constantly launching. You just need to find them, all right? So obviously went over Rebate Key. Let's check if Extreme Rebate really fast is still around. I used to use this one a ton. It was my favorite one. They might have since gone out of business. I'm not sure. Let's check. Let's just Google it. Extreme Rebate. Amazon. Oop. So they might have changed to Rebate. Rebate Key's another one. And you get the picture, right? So it doesn't look like Extreme Rebate's around anymore. They might have just rebranded to Rebate. But it's, again, right here. Like cashback, 90% cashback, 80%. There's probably a bunch of free items here on these websites, right? So just look. That's another one, Rebate. I would use these to try to find some. And then obviously do your own research. There's a bunch out there that are not on this list. Here's some other ones for other countries as well, depending on where you're trying to sell, right? Also, review groups on Facebook, very easy way. So if we just go to Facebook, you can search for like Amazon review groups or Amazon free products. There are a ton of groups here that, again, are sellers looking for Amazon reviews, reviewer community, 17,000 people, and there's literally Amazon Vine reviewers. There's a bunch, right? And so there's a ton of people giving away these products for free in these groups. Now, because you're in a Facebook group, you do need to keep track of stuff yourself, and you do need to verify that the sellers are obviously giving you the money back via PayPal and that they're giving you what they agreed on, right? Like, for example, like if you agree to buy something for $40 and the seller says they'll give you 100% refund, make sure that they give you $40 back and not, 38 or 36 or whatever the case is that you agreed upon, right? You can also give them a direct PayPal link. That's an easiest way to do it. A lot of people will do that. A lot of them will even give you money ahead of time. Now, you don't really run any risks here. Like, you do run into the occasional nefarious seller that will kind of try to screw you over. Occasionally. It's rare. I used to, do this all the time and get thousands of products out of review groups. Not necessarily this one, but just like a bunch in general. Search for Amazon review groups, search for free products, free Amazon products, stuff like that, right? And in these groups, you will want to run into, like, 95% of people are just going to give you the product or have you purchase the product, and then they'll refund you, within 5 days, 10 days, or whatever, if you don't return the product, right? And they want a review for it, right? Or you might say, like, hey, I'm not comfortable giving a review, but I'll obviously buy the product or go for search terms. And some of them, every once in a while, will try to screw you over, like I said, but that's not an issue, because remember when I told you about, like, on Rebate Key, you can always return a product within 30 days on Amazon? You could always return the product. So, for example, you buy a product and it's $40, and the seller says that they're going to refund you, but then they never do, and 15 days goes by. You can be like, well, screw you. I'm just returning this product. And then you could even return it and give the seller bad feedback. So they have more to lose than you do here on these groups. So just keep track of everything. And if they try to screw you over, return the product, get all your money back. It's totally fine. It's very easy to do on Amazon. Again, within 30 days, you can return any product and then just review them bad, right? Like, literally give them bad seller feedback. You can even threaten them to do that, and they'll know that that's a possibility. And then most of them will refund you, right? But again, I just wanted to touch on that because it can be an issue that you run into, but it's few and far between. Like 95% plus of people that you're going to deal with in these groups understand that fact, and they're not going to try to screw you over. So they're going to give you your money back. They're not going to do any funny business. So again, cashback websites, very, very great spot to get free products or discounted products. Same thing with Facebook groups. Just search for like Amazon reviews or free Amazon products. Another great place. Now, the next place is, I'm not trying to plug it, but the next great place is just TikTok affiliate samples. So TikTok affiliates, if you don't know what it is, you sign up for TikTok affiliates on TikTok, obviously, and then often sellers will send you free products so that you can make review videos on them. And then the whole key is, if you get a sale using, like, making a video linking to their product, it's the same thing as affiliate marketing, but it's just on TikTok. And other people are watching your videos, and then they end up buying that product linked in your video. You get a commission, and you obviously don't need to sell the product. You're selling it for somebody else, but you just link to their product like affiliate marketing. And if you get the sale, then you might get $3 commission, $8 commission, $10 commission, whatever. But because sellers obviously get the advantage on TikTok of other people making videos for them to try to sell, so it takes the work off of their part. They're just giving an affiliate commission. Often they will send a bunch of free products in the beginning. I've literally gotten thousands of free products on TikTok affiliate. It is a great way to do it, not just for free products for this to resell, which is a phenomenal way. You can make a ton of money doing that for real, but also making money on TikTok affiliate. It's one of the best things to do right now in e-commerce in general. It's just great. So again, I'm not trying to plug it, but this is the best place to do it. I launched a TikTok affiliate jumpstart course because it's something I do heavily. You can go to learnecom.net. The first thing that's going to pop up is the TikTok affiliate jumpstart. It will take you to my Teachable course, which is right here. And this is stupidly cheap. You just enroll, and you don't have to pay a full price by enrolling either. It's not $1,000. It's telling you that you can make $1,000 in affiliate commissions fast. And as you can see, it's only $195, but because you're enrolled in this course, you don't have to pay that. I'm going to give you a 50% off discount link just because you're already enrolled in this course, and that will help you out a ton. I will link that to this course. Also, you can just use the discount code JUMPSTART50. So that is JUMPSTART50, and plug that right in here in the coupon code, and it will drop it 50% off for you. All right. I will also link it directly to this lecture if you want to go ahead and get it that way. But again, this is a very great way to get free products. I'm not trying to plug this. It's just, I put it together like a few months back because it's literally what I do, and this is the best place to go. All right. So enough about that, but that's a great option for you. So TikTok affiliate samples, phenomenal way. Now, the next two ways that I want to talk about are OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace free, okay? So we covered Facebook review groups when we talked about cashback, products on these websites like Rebate Key, for example. But another great way is just go to Facebook Marketplace and go to OfferUp and check out their free stuff. Now, I did this a ton in the past when I was first coming up 15 years ago. It was a great way to do it. Same thing with Craigslist, which Craigslist isn't really kind of around in that aspect anymore, but Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp still are. And then even 5 years ago, because I used to teach online arbitrage a lot, I would get a lot of pushback from my students oh, I can't do this, or oh, I'm not comfortable, whatever the case is, oh, I'm not able to get these products. And so I got kind of fed up with it, and I was like, screw it, I'm going to make a video of myself doing this to prove that you can get free products on these websites very easily if you just try. And I actually did, right? So what I did is I went and searched free products on Facebook Marketplace and on OfferUp. I ended up getting 800 books from some guy that was it was kind of sad. His mother just passed away. She was old, and he was cleaning out her house, and he was just looking for somebody to come and take all the books that were in the basement. And I literally contacted him, and that same day drove. It was 15 minutes away, went to the house, grabbed the books out of the basement, and packed up I think it was 5 or 6 big totes of these books, and I ended up selling them all. It was 800 books. Some of them sold for literally $1.99 on Amazon and helped me rank my Amazon account, but some of them sold for $20, $40. Some of them sold for one of them. It was called The Rape of Lock. It was weird. It was this purple book, sold for $800. I got that for free, and that was a complete dream at the time. I wasn't expecting to do that, but I got a free book to resell for $800, not to mention 800 other books, roughly. I forget what the actual number was, to resell. And again, some of them sold right away. Some of them sold a week later. Some of them didn't sell for a year, but it was $40 here, $50 there, $80 here, whatever the case is, right? So you definitely can do that. And in the very next video, I'm going to talk about that video that I made and how my experience with that and how to do that. So you can do it. You can meet up with people on these websites. Another example of this that you see on Facebook Marketplace all the time is people offering free couches. So if you're just trying to get rid of something, or I gave away something free the other 2 months ago. It was a bunch of rocks outside because the old owners of my house had a bunch of rocks around a tree. Well, we cut the tree down. We ended up giving a bunch of rocks away, and those rocks are expensive. Gardeners, landscapers, they buy those rocks. They're hundreds of dollars. They're expensive, but I didn't want them, and I don't want to have to go throw them out at a dump or put them in. They were super heavy, so I literally put them free by the curb and put a listing on Facebook Marketplace. They were gone in 30 minutes. Someone grabbed them. They were expensive. They were worth a lot of money. So same thing with a couch, same thing with like old workout equipment. I put a basketball net out front of my house, put it up for free. I put an old bicycle, like it was like an ergonomic bike for workouts because we didn't have enough space in our home gym for it. So I put that out by the curb. That was like a $300 bike. I just didn't feel like getting rid of it. I didn't feel like hauling it away and didn't feel like paying somebody to haul it away for me. So I put it for free on Facebook Marketplace. Somebody bought that, probably used it for their home gym, but you could be that person to go pick that up or the couch or whatever and flip it for money. That is like a big business now. People flipping couches that they find for free on Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp for hundreds of dollars for literally a couch that they got for free, just because somebody doesn't know how to get rid of that couch and they're going to have to pay a company to come haul it away, right? So you can haul it away for free, resell it, and make a ton of money, right? How do you get that? Well, you can obviously just look through the listings, or you can scroll down on Facebook Marketplace on mobile or on a computer, look at free stuff, and boom, free poker table, free couch, free sectional, just what I was talking about right there, free lumber, you could resell that, free bike, another example, free identical bookcases, like this free freaking piano if you can move it, like that's probably worth like $1,000 or $2. That's probably right here, this Pokemon lot. Like every once in a while you'll find like a listing like free car. These people are trying to sell these, so don't bite into these things. Like no one's giving away free Pokemon. See, like not free selling around Marketplace. We'll give a little bit. Like these are obviously, this person's trying to sell this car. They're not giving it away for free, obviously, right? But like this is, if you can just get this out of this person's basement, they probably just want it gone. And upper and lower body equipment must pick up and disassemble. So if you can disassemble this and take it away, you can have it for free, right? Like that's a bad example because that's tough. But like something like this bookcase or this like chair right here, free, need gone, 100% free. You could resell this and relist this back on somewhere for like $95. And then like you store it, you go pick it up, and then maybe 2 months from now, it sells for $95. It's a free $95 that you made literally for just picking it up because this person doesn't want it anymore. Like this is so easy. My father-in-law listed a pool table from his basement, and he had it on Facebook Marketplace for free for like a week. And eventually some guy picked it up. He didn't want to use the pool table, but he wanted to use the slab on that the pool table was like underneath the felt. I guess that slab of marble or whatever it's called is worth a ton of money, and none of us knew that. So he picked it up, and then once it was in his truck, we asked him like, "Oh, where are you going to put it?" And he was like, "Oh, I actually don't even want the pool table. I'm going to resell the material, and it's worth a lot of money." So you can make good money doing this on Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp. People are literally giving stuff away for free because they want it out of their houses. Go pick it up, resell it, relist it. It's super easy to do. This is tried and true. I used to do this all the time. And again, I did it 5 years ago just to prove a point that you still can, and I guarantee you still can right now, all right? Same thing with OfferUp. You're going to see free stuff on here all the time. They also have a, like once you're logged in, you can also do this on mobile. You can literally see free stuff. There's a category that's free. So those are all the ways, right? So to recap, we have cashback websites. Here's a list of all of them. Again, don't stop at this list. Don't stop at Facebook group. Like also go to Facebook groups and Facebook review groups to get free products as well. But don't stop at this list. Search for your own. They're constantly updating, constantly launching new ones. All right. Second thing is TikTok affiliates. Again, not trying to plug it. I hate plugging like courses in these lectures and everything, but this is the best place to start. I guarantee you're going to get hundreds of products very quickly and be able to make good money on TikTok affiliate, and then also be able to resell those products for a ton of money. So that's a great way. Again, link to this lecture, or you can just use the coupon code JUMPSTART50 and enroll and you save 50% off, right? The next thing is free on Facebook Marketplace and free on OfferUp. Two phenomenal ways to get a ton of free products all the time, constantly, that you can resell for a ton of money. And then in the next video, we're going to jump into my experience doing that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the books and that story there. So one of the biggest obstacles that I hear from new sellers is, but I don't have any money to get started. And honestly, in my opinion, that is just an excuse 99% of the time. You don't need a big budget to start selling on any resale platform. In fact, one of the simplest and most effective ways to get your first inventory is completely free. So here's how it works, all right? You go on Facebook Marketplace, you go on OfferUp, and you filter the listings by free. Every single day, people are giving away stuff that they don't want anymore. Clothing, home goods, books, shoes, electronics, you name it. They just want somebody to pick it up often so that it's out of their house and they're doing like spring cleaning or something like that, right? And that is exactly where you come in, right? You go, you pick it up, you bring it home, and you list it. It's free inventory that you can flip for pure profit. Now, every time I say this, I get pushback instantly. And people tell me that it doesn't work in my area or nobody gives away good stuff for free. But here's the truth, okay? It absolutely works, and I've done it myself. Now, not only will I talk about a brief example a few years ago that I did when I wanted to prove this exact point, but also I'm going to give you several other examples in this course on how you can get free and cheap inventory as well. So there are literally no excuses, all right? But a few years ago, I did want to prove this exact point because I used to get pushback all the time. So I went on Facebook Marketplace. I found a post where somebody was giving away boxes and books for free. Their mom had passed away and she was old. Like, she had a basement full of books, and the guy, I think he was like in his 50s or 60s, was kind of cleaning out the family home, and he just wanted the books gone and out of the basement. I drove over, I picked them up, and suddenly I had hundreds of items to list. I forget how many books it was. It was probably like 500-600 books, okay? Now, I ended up selling those books across several different platforms, from Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Amazon, and a number of others, and I made some decent money. And in fact, one of those books was actually worth $800, and it sold on Amazon for $800, okay? Now, that is $800 for something that I got for free. And I'm not saying that that's always going to be the case, but that is the power of it. You just never know, okay? And the entire thing there was this entire experience is documented on my YouTube channel for this day. It is still up there, and although it is an older video, it is still up there, completely documented for you to see, so I could obviously point to this and be like, hey, I've done this, so I know that you can, okay? The point is, even if you don't watch that, obviously, is you can sit around making excuses or you can take action. Free inventory is out there. It might be books, it might be clothes, it might be furniture, it might be something else, right? But people are giving stuff away for free all the time, and all you need to do is go get it, take some photos, list it, and start building momentum, okay? That is how you start your business without spending a dime. This is one of the fastest and easiest ways to break through the I don't have money barrier. And once you start flipping free items into sales, you'll then have cash to then reinvest into better inventory. And that's how you can start building from absolutely nothing. So don't let excuses hold you back. If I can pick up free books and flip one for $800 and then obviously sell the rest, you can pick up free inventory in your area and start making sales too.
All right, so we covered how to get free stuff and sometimes cheap stuff. Now I want to cover how to get a ton of cheap stuff to resell, all right? There's a bunch of different ways. The first one is liquidation websites. So same thing with liquidation websites as the cashback websites and what I talked about. You obviously don't just want to stop at this list. I'm going to give you a ton and I'll scroll through them slowly. You can obviously pause and write these down and then kind of, try to, go through. I will also link all these Word documents with all of these websites listed to these lectures for you, so you don't have to go out and search them. But again, don't just stop at these because there are a ton out there. These are just literally like, 20 or so, maybe 30. There are a bunch. So go out there and look for your own liquidation websites. Go out there and look for your own cashback websites. Go out there and look for your own coupon websites. They're constantly updating, and we're going to talk about coupon websites here in a second. So what is a liquidation website? A liquidation website is a site that either makes their money buying bulk products and then reselling them to you guys or me or resellers, or often what a liquidation website is somebody that gets liquidation products from a retail website or a retail store or Amazon, for example. So let's say a perfect example. Amazon has a bunch of stuff. They need to liquidate their inventory. Maybe a listing goes, maybe the seller stops selling a listing or whatever the case is, or they get a bunch of returns that are like partially open that they can't resell as new. Well, often what they'll do is they'll package all them up in a pallet. They'll resell it to a liquidation company for pennies on the dollar just to get some money back for it and to liquidate their inventory so they don't have to store it in their facility anymore. What that liquidation website will do in this case, in this example, is maybe they're buying that pallet for $100 and it's got a bunch of products on it. They're going to resell it to us for like $300 or $400, make a decent amount of money, and then we are still getting it for not maybe pennies on the dollar, but maybe dimes on the dollar, maybe nickels on the dollar, and still be able to make a ton of money because you're buying these products, right? Same thing would be another perfect example, like let's say Target has a bunch of clothes and they over anticipated how many, of a specific sweater that they could sell, right? And they purchased and put 1,000 of those units in a store or stores, right? And for whatever reason, they were only able to sell 100. The demand was, way under what they expected. Well, instead of just keeping them or throwing them out, often what they'll do is they'll move on from that product that they decide it's not working out. They'll sell it to a liquidation company for like, $1 a sweater instead of, the $30 that they were retailing at. or $40 that they're retailing at or whatever. And then that liquidation company will buy each for $1, sell a bunch of them back to you and me if we want to resell them for $3 or $5 or whatever. And then again, there's still a ton of margin to be made from us if you're willing to do that, right? And this is a great way to get very cheap inventory to resell. And it's one of the best ways that I was able to resell a ton of products in the beginning is by using liquidation websites, right? So again, there's a ton of them out there. There's a list here for you. But again, don't just stop here, look through this list, and then go out there and find them. There are thousands of these websites. It's crazy. Now, when I used to do this a ton, my favorite website was 888 Lots. I haven't bought a pallet on here in a while, but I used to buy pallets here all the time. The thing about this that I like is they'll sell you individual items here, but you do need to buy a certain amount of individual items. They're also very cheap lots, and you can buy lots just in specific categories. So for example, you want to go through and look at, books or movies, then you can do that. If you want to go through and look at pet supplies, for an example, let's click there, then you can do that, right? And there's individual pet supplies that you can buy here, and they're literally selling it. So like this Arm & Hammer for $278. The Amazon price is $6. This is Amazon's price is $190 for this, expandable dog remote trainer. Well, they're going to give it to you for $98. And one of the cool things about this website is you can also make offers, right? I know that these Seresto things right here are expensive. I bought one for my dog literally like 3 months ago. You can get this for $23 here. It retails for $60. Like that's a good price there. Now, the singular items like we talked about, it's going to be a lot easier if you're trying to resell them back on a website because obviously what it retails for. But where you're really going to make your money on these liquidation sites are on the pallets. So when you think of liquidation pallets from a liquidation company, a lot of people often think like you're going to need a loading dock, you're going to need like a big truck, you're going to need something to receive these big ass pallets. But that's not the case. Often, all a liquidation pallet is it's a package of different things together, right? So a liquidation pallet can be a box of like 30 items, right? I used to buy literally small pallets like that all the time. It doesn't have to be this big pallet that like is saran wrapped that has thousands of items on it that you're going to need like a mover to actually move for you and receive. Often it's just a big box of stuff, right? So don't overthink it and make sure that you're looking into it. So let's look at some of the lots here or some of the special deals. They have a ton. So they have a 94 lots in other, 4 in personal care and beauty, a few in office and school supplies. They also have it lots by size, so like under 50 units. Perfect example of what I'm talking about there. Medium, 50 to 200. Like these are two that you can receive literally anywhere probably. Over 200 units, if they're small, you might be able to receive. If they're bigger, then obviously that's something you're going to need like a truck or like a loading bay or something for their truck to actually drop it off, right? But like if you're buying under 50 units or 50 to 100 or 50 to 200, like that's probably just a big box or a few big boxes that they'll ship to you very easily, okay? So let's check just as an example. Let's go like lots by size. And it's literally going to tell you right here, like this is 2 boxes of 325 grocery products. Retails roughly at $500. You can get this for $167. And again, you don't just have to accept this $167 price. You can make them an offer and be like, hey, I'll buy it for $115. And they'll tell you no or yes almost instantly. It's automatic on the website. So if they can obviously make a decent money on it or it's break even, then they'll probably accept it for you, right? Here's another big example. This retails on Amazon for $105,000. You can buy this one right here. It's a ton of different products for, almost 10 grand. And this is probably like electronics here as an example. But let's find one that's like medium. So like this one's $84 or $85. It retails on Amazon for like $361. Let's just check it out. What is it? Well, the lot manifest, you're getting whey standard protein right here, 10 pounds. That's worth a ton of money. I buy that all the time. Honestly, might buy this right here just because that's literally like $85 is like what this is worth. And then you're getting all these for free. Then you're getting hazelnut milk chocolate in here. You're getting espresso version. I'm going to literally buy this. I'm buying this right now. I'm going to buy this right here on camera. This is a phenomenal one. I could use this deodorant. I literally use these all the time, every single day. I have a coffee right next to me, literally with this Nespresso right here. And then the whey right here, like this is all... I just luckily going to buy this just because I'm going to use all this stuff. But your goal here is to resell this, right? So it's going to give you the ASIN on Amazon so you can literally see the product listing, which is a game changer. And again, right here, this sells for $45. You are getting one of those. The unit price is $209. Oh, this is the 10 pounder. That's why. So right here is 2 pounds, but the 10 pound is right here. 10-pound for 160, but again, they don't have the strawberry in flavor. So this one retails for 160. You're going to get this one, just literally the whole pallet of this, the whole box for 85 bucks, which is a game changer. This right here. So if, for example, like if you wanted to resell this and buy this and resell this, you could relist this back on any website for like $95, probably sell it super fast because it's literally worth like almost double that. And then you'd have $10 profit on your pallet already with all these other things to resell, right? So that's how it kind of works. What I always used to teach and these are also worth a ton of money, these virtual ones, like just to show you that I'm not like just making this stuff up. Like, look how many times I purchased this. All right, well, these ones aren't here, but these Bianco capsules, like let me go into my orders just to show you. Because I don't want to just be like talking out the side of my mouth and you guys are like, oh, he's just making this up. Like, no, I literally drink these all the time. It's crazy. So boom. We got an espresso virtual here, these same exact ones, and to show you I buy protein all the time. Like 58 freaking times. I just bought this 4 days ago. It's retails for 42 bucks for the 3-pack of those, right? So I think this one's the 2-pack, but still, yeah, it's a 2-pack of them. So I mean, you cut that and buy a third. What was it? I don't know, $25, maybe a little bit more. And you're getting how many of those? 2 of them. So there's another one that's going to retail for more. I'm literally going to buy this pallet. It's crazy. But like, I bought this one, Optimum Nutrition. I buy protein all the time from Optimum Nutrition. It's a phenomenal thing. And you can, there you go, bang. It just never ends. But so this is an example of a pallet. I'm literally going to buy this. So I want to keep this pallet. But let me show you another example as we go through some liquidation pallets. And again, this is just one example of a website that you can utilize. There are a ton, and don't just stop at this list. Keep searching. Like it does not end. There's a bunch of liquidation websites, right? It's another great way. So let's look at some other lots. We'll go small, and we'll look at one more. Let's check this one out, this $167 one. What's in here? Looks like, so these are other items. You're getting gum, you're getting coffee. Oh, this is like the grocery. I'm not a grocery guy, and obviously you don't want to resell them on some different websites. If your plan is to resell them back on like Amazon, that's one thing, but that's probably not ideal for here. So let's check this $420 one right here. You get shoes, you get Sperry's. Those are worth 54 bucks. This one right here is MSRP's for $426, and it's literally going to pretty much cover the cost of this pallet right here. So let's take a look at it. What does it actually retail for on Amazon? And again, they're going to outline all this for you, literally giving you the ASIN and product listing on Amazon. And then you could take not just obviously this product, but you could take these pictures, you could take this listing and then relist it. It makes it super simple. So even used right here, this is 356 bucks. It's a waterproof camera. Resell this. This is a new. Oh, it's damaged. So the condition's damaged. So you might need to resell this as like used new. I usually typically avoid those. As you can see on these are all brand new. So I usually go after brand new pallets. I'm not going to go after and resell damaged or like used. Like sometimes you'll get like partially, worn clothing. So I would avoid that lot there just because it has, damaged products. But you get the picture, right? So this is a phenomenal way. I don't want to waste too much of your time. This is a phenomenal way to get a ton of inventory very quickly for stupidly cheap. And just to show you on 888 lots, like you can negotiate the price. Like, what am I willing to pay? I don't want to pay $85. I'm willing to pay $65. Hooray, my offer was sent successfully. I'll be notified and it'll reviewed. It usually takes 1 to 2 business days to process it. Bang. And if, for example, like sometimes it will auto accept it and sometimes it will tell you like immediately like, no, doesn't work. Sorry. So let's cancel it. We'll try again just to kind of show you. Let's negotiate. Let's say 75. Hooray, it was sent successfully. Like if I cancel this and then I offer $10, it's probably just going to immediately tell me like, no thanks. Yeah, sorry, but your offer is lower than the amount we can possibly consider. So if they're going to consider an offer, obviously it'll tell you right away like no, or they'll get back to you and tell you. Sometimes it'll auto accept you. Like if I offer 80 here, it might just auto accept me. We'll see. Hooray, my offer was okay. Well, rude. But I want to buy this anyway. But this is a great website. Obviously, 888 lots, but there's a ton of liquidation websites. I've been talking, for a while here, so I apologize. I just got excited about that one lot, and I'm literally going to buy it. Now, what is the next way that you can get cheap stuff to resell? So coupon websites. They're a lot like cashback websites, right? So coupon websites are very similar to cashback websites in that it's the same overall strategy that Amazon sellers have these products on websites. They're trying to get you to buy them so that they can rank them or potentially search for search terms. So again, they can rank them. Same thing as the cashback websites, right? The only difference is with cashback websites, you're paying for the product up front, and then they're reimbursing you a certain amount. So say a product's $40, you're going to pay $40 for that product. 35 days later, or 5 days later, if it's like a Facebook group or whatever, they're going to give you that $40 back via PayPal or something like that, right? Whereas coupon websites, you're getting a coupon upfront to purchase it for a lot less, right? So that same $40 product, maybe you get a coupon to purchase it for $10, right? And then maybe you get a coupon to purchase it for $5. So you're literally getting a $35 coupon to purchase it for a lot less so that you don't get any money back later, but you only have to spend a certain amount of money, right? So there are a ton of these coupon websites. They're constantly changing. Again, don't just stop here. But I used to do this a ton. I made literally over 6 figures doing this one year, just getting coupon products. And granted, this was before a lot of people knew about these, so I really hopped on the trend fast. But you can still find good products here and still resell them online. The only caveat is just like the cashback websites, do not resell these back on Amazon. You can resell them anywhere else, right? So another example of don't just stop here is this is Vipon, right? It used to be Vipon.com, but if you just went to Vipon.com, it doesn't work anymore, right? It tells you that it's not in, it doesn't, it's not around, right? Oh, no Vipon, right? But if you just search Google for Vipon, you would know that they just rebranded and changed to My Vipon, right? And now you can find them. So don't stop just at this list. It's just to give you a few ideas. Same thing with the cashback, same thing with the liquidation ones, right? Don't stop here. Also Google, also ask ChatGPT, ask AI, what are the best new coupon websites? They're constantly launching new ones every single month. Do not just stop at this list. But here's an example of Vipon. Just to show you, you're getting promo codes for 76% off. So this one normally retails right here for $27. You get it for $6.50. This one right here, 50% off, 50% off, 70% off. And every once in a while, you'll see 100% off or 99% off or 95% off. You're going to get some good deals on here. Just you have to be willing to look around. And again, same thing with the cashback websites. The earlier you sign on in that morning, the better the deals are going to be before people take them, right? Because with a lot of the cashback websites, often it's open-ended, but with a lot of the coupon websites, they only set a certain amount of coupons, so you want to get in there fast, right? And you can obviously, sort through. What I'll do is, I'm not logged in right now, but what you can do is you can sort for price low to high or discount high to low. That's always a good one too. And then right now, keep in mind it's 10:30 already. But this one's 83% off, 80% off, and you get the picture, right? So there's a bunch of good options here. This one's literally $70 headphones. It's 75% off, right? So phenomenal opportunity to get a bunch of cheap products here with coupon websites. Also liquidation websites, like I said, and I will link these lists of these websites to this lecture for you, just like I will do with the cashback ones from before. Now, 2 other ways to do it really fast are garage sales. You can literally just search for garage sales in your area, or you can keep an eye out for them. And those are great places where you can find stupidly cheap products. I have found literally $1 for certain electronics, $1 for $5 for a jersey. I bought an Otani jersey from somebody 2 years ago when he was first, he was originally a rookie, and bought an Otani jersey for I think it was $5 at the time because they were trying to liquidate and get rid of some stuff. It was a summer clean out or a spring cleaning garage sale, and I literally resold that a month later back on I think it was eBay. I don't remember where I sold it, but for $100 or $120. It was a vintage legit jersey. They were just trying to get rid of it. So garage sales, phenomenal place. Gary Vee obviously talks about that a ton. And then stuff around your house. We all have a ton of stuff around our house. Just looking around the room, I know you can't see me right now because I'm recording on the computer, but just looking around the room, there are a ton of things that I could sell in this room that would be worth a ton of money, right? Same thing with you in your house, in your apartment, wherever. Everybody has way too much stuff that they can sell. I guarantee you, no matter who you are, there's a 99% chance that you have at least $1,000 sitting around your house that you don't use anymore. Think of old movies, think of old video games, think of old electronics, think of things that you're not using anymore that you can sell. Think of old clothes, or literally shoes sell for. I saw I had a bunch of cologne. I sold that cologne, made $1,000 literally just on cologne. You can sell pretty much anything around your house that you're not using, list it, And in the very next lecture, I'm going to talk about how I literally did this in the beginning. Like I started when I was first starting out, I resold a bunch of stuff and made a bunch of money. I also, again, just like that same book example, when I was doing the Craigslist free, the Facebook Marketplace free, the OfferUp free, and I got all those books and one of them sold for $800. I literally did this because people were telling me that I only have like $100. I only have like a few things I can sell. And I was like, listen, there's a million things that you can actually go out and sell in your house. And I went and proved it and I made a video about it. So in the next video here, the next lecture, I'm going to talk about that video because it's old. I want to just kind of cover my experience with that. So game changer, guys. These are, I guess, 4 ways: liquidation websites, coupon websites, garage sales, and sell stuff around your house. Again, obviously, selling stuff around your house is finite. You only have a certain amount of things that you can resell around your house, but I guarantee you have at least $1,000 profit sitting around your house right now that you can make within the next month or two if you just list things that you don't even use anymore or don't really care about that much. So one of the biggest excuses that I hear from people who want to start reselling is, I don't have any money to buy inventory. And my response to that is always the same: you don't need money to get started. There are actually 2 simple ways to begin without spending a dime. So first, you can drop ship. Now, drop shipping requires no upfront money, and later in this course, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do it step by step with multiple different methods. But even if you don't want to drop ship right away or at all, that's totally fine. There's another simple option that anybody can take advantage of, and you can start listing things around your house, all right? Now, the reality is almost everybody has $1,000 worth of inventory sitting right in their home that they are not using, that they don't need, or they probably don't even think about it anymore, right? Now, that could be old clothes in your closet, shoes you never wear, movies, electronics, books, kids' toys, kitchen gadgets, video games, whatever, okay? You name it, there's a ton of stuff around your house. Now, all of these things are potential inventory that you can sell right now. I know this because I've done it myself. When I got started reselling over like 15 years ago on eBay specifically and on Amazon, I didn't go out and buy a bunch of products myself to resell them. I just looked around my house. That was the first thing that I did. I found cologne bottles that I barely used. I found shoes that had been sitting in my closet for years that I barely wore. I found football jerseys and soccer jerseys that I wore maybe once every other year, and all kinds of other random stuff that I did not need anymore. I listed it all, and I ended up making a few $1,000s in profit just from things that I already had lying around my house. And a few years ago, I even did a video experiment to, again, prove this and do it all over again. I wanted to show people that almost anybody could start this way. So I listed things from around my house. Currently, at that time, it was an apartment. And sure enough, it worked, okay? The inventory is there. You just have to find it and you have to take action, all right? So in most cases, if your excuse is, I don't have the money to buy products, I want you to throw that excuse out right now. You already have products. You just don't think of them as inventory yet. But once you start looking around your house with a reseller's eye, you'll see opportunities everywhere, all right? Now, obviously, there's stuff around your house, but I gave you also the opportunity to drop ship. That's something that we'll cover in this course. You're going to learn about cashback and coupon websites, and you also obviously will learn about Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp free. There is no excuse. You can definitely get started and build up an initial nest egg of money. This is the easiest way, hands down, to get started, though. Look around your house, resell stuff that you already have, all right? It's an easy way to get started. It's an easy way to build momentum, and it's an easy way to generate cash that you can reinvest back into your business to scale even further. You don't need to wait. You don't need to overthink it, and you don't need a big budget or realistically any budget at all to get started. You just need to start with what you already have and let that be the launch pad for everything else that we're going to cover in this course, all right? So figure that out, take action, pick either drop shipping, look around your house, or go contact people on Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp, or start cashback or coupon arbitrage. There's a ton of methods. Now, one of the most important things to understand about Poshmark is that sharing is the engine that's going to drive sales. Now, if you're not sharing your listings consistently, then you're going to struggle to get any traction on the platform. Here's why. Sharing does 2 powerful things. First, it's going to put your listings in front of more people. Every time you share, your listings are going to show up in your followers' feeds as well. And then when other sellers share your items back, your listings will also get exposed to their followers, all right? And that means that sharing isn't just about your audience. It's also about tapping into entirely new pools of other buyers that follow the people that follow you, and vice versa. And you obviously wouldn't have put your products in front of them otherwise.
And second, and even more importantly, and I'm hitting this home for the second time on purpose because it is super important, sharing impacts where your items show up in search results. That's the key factor in all of this, okay? This is where the real sales come from. So for example, let's say a buyer searches for those white wool gloves. Poshmark doesn't organize the results that they're going to see based on what it thinks is best, for that buyer. Instead, by default, it organizes them by most recently listed or most recently shared. They're the same thing in Poshmark's eyes, all right? And that means that if you're not sharing, your items are going to sink further and further down search results, making them almost invisible to buyers. But if you are sharing consistently, then your items are going to keep popping back up at the top and stay at the top, which is going to give you more organic visibility and more sales opportunities when people are searching for products like that. So the bottom line is this: the more you share, the more you will sell. It is really that simple, assuming that you're already going ahead and listing good products and you're sharing. That's the key to all of it. Now, I'll be honest with you, nobody obviously wants to sit around manually sharing their closet all day. It would take hours and hours, and it's just not realistic if you want to run a business efficiently and maintain your sanity. And that's why automation tools exist. So with software like Posh Sidekick, all of your sharing can be handled automatically for you. You don't need to sit there clicking buttons for hours. The software will share your listings, it will send offers to likers, and it will keep your closet active for you so that you can focus on sourcing products, creating better listings, and growing your business. And like I said, I'm hitting this home for the second time on purpose because it is extremely important. I've included a full tutorial of Posh Sidekick already in this course. It's going to show you how to set up and use the actual software tool. It's very easy. It is one of the best tools that I recommend for Poshmark sellers, and it will save you countless hours of manual work and manual headaches. So just remember, if you are not sharing, you are not competing, okay? But the good news is that sharing is stupidly easy now. With automation like this, you can have it running for you in the background while you focus on the parts of your business, that actually move the boat forward, that actually move the needle.
All right, so I really briefly want to talk about making offers to likers to drive more sales, but obviously your bot should be doing this automatically. So I will link Posh Sidekick again to this lecture. It is a no-brainer. If you're not using an automation bot of some sort, obviously I think Posh Sidekick is the best, but hands down, I use it myself. You're really going to get left behind. You're going to struggle to make sales here, and you're really kind of trying to fight with one hand, handcuffed. Honestly, both hands handcuffed behind your back. You're really going to struggle. So you should be using a bot. But to explain why it is advantageous is obviously the sharing, like we talked about before, but also because you can make offers to likers. So this is a really great way that you can convert a ton of people into buyers that were interested, because a lot of people, they'll go through, this is a bad example, but as you can see, there's a ton of clothes on Poshmark, right? So if I'm scrolling Poshmark and I like some shoes, or I like, a shirt, or whatever the case is, they like something. A lot of people will like it. They might not purchase it right that second. So they'll just like the listing, right? As you can see. But what the thing is they might like it to pin it, but then they might never come back and buy it. So you can constantly stay notifying them if you just make offers to likers, right? So if you click offer or price drop, there's two ways that you can do this. So you can edit the listing publicly, obviously just edit it and then drop it a certain percentage, and it will then hold a quote unquote public sale and then tell everybody that the price has dropped, right? So it will tell all the likers that the price has dropped, but it will also be a little bit higher in search results. It will also be a little bit more discoverable on the platform, especially within search for that certain 24-hour window, because you just dropped the price, right? So it will rank higher in search, but it will also notify likers. I don't really ever do this. You can. But what I do all the time is make offers to likers or hold a quote unquote private sale, right? So this is a bad example because there's one person that likes this, but for often on listings that have been around in a while, this was literally just listed yesterday. On listings that were around for a while, you'll have 10, 20, 30 likers sometimes, maybe even 5 likers, whatever the case is. But that's, 20 potential people that could buy this. And so what you're going to do is make an offer to liker, and then you're going to make the offer. So this price is $38. You could drop this to $30 with discounted shipping. You can make no discount shipping. You can make $4.99 shipping, which is a discount of shipping. Then obviously just takes that out of your specific earnings. And then you could also offer free shipping, which will drop this a lot more, right? So we'll tell you what you will make, right? Now, I typically don't offer discounted shipping. I'll just drop the price a certain percentage, knowing that, I factored in, maybe I marked my prices up 60%, 80%, whatever the case is. And obviously, if you're reselling, it's going to be slightly different from you. But you can make offers to likers to then drive urgency and a timed offer. So it simulates value because this is worth, whatever the case is, $38 here on Poshmark. This person has liked this. So if you make an offer at like 29 with discounted shipping or even no discounted shipping, then obviously that simulates more value because they're getting it for a cheaper price, even though it's the same item. And it simulates urgency, which is one of the key things to make a sale very, very easily because you're timing the offer. It expires in 24 hours and it will notify them via email and on the platform. And every Poshmark buyer has email that is literally attached. So she'll get notified. And again, if there's 20 people that have liked this listing, 20 people will get notified like, hey, this has just dropped X amount of percentage with discounted shipping. But it's only for the next 24 hours. So it simulates urgency and increases the perceived value of that, for the next 24 hours. It will increase the potential that one of those people will buy this product or any of your products within that certain 24-hour window. That's why it's really advantageous, and that's why you should do it. Always make offers to likers. But again, in the past, you used to have to go through and literally do this manually like I'm showing you, but you don't have to do that anymore. Your bot should be doing this all day long. Again, sharing all day long, making offers to likers all day long, and that is really going to drive a ton of sales. So don't sleep on that, but also, like I said, definitely don't sleep on the bots. Posh Sidekick, get it. It's a no-brainer.
Are you a Poshmark seller, but maybe you're not getting the sales that you thought you would? I get it. I've been there. And the chances you're probably overlooking at least one of these things. So in this video, we're going to cover several things to keep in mind to make sure that your Poshmark sales are maximized. Checking off all these boxes will ensure that your Poshmark game is as strong as possible. First and foremost, you want to price high and then make discounted offers to likers to drive sales. Now, this simulates urgency because of the timed offer, and it also increases perceived value of buying it now. It sounds simple, but to this date, it has been my best strategy to get sales and still works extremely well. Secondly, when someone does make you an offer, you can then decline it and raise your price. For whatever reason, it doesn't notify the potential buyer that makes the offer that the price has changed, nor does it say it on the offer page. So when you do this and they come back to take a look at the offer they made and why it got declined, they'll think they might have lowballed you and then they'll offer you more. I'd say this probably works around a third of the time and ends up with you getting a higher offer and ultimately more money in your pocket. Third is share as much as you can. So for example, sharing from your closet actively puts those items in the feed of the people that follow you. And sharing from parties brings new eyes to your closet and more attention on your items, because ultimately Poshmark is kind of like a share for share culture. So when you share their item, most people will come back to your closet and share yours. And that also just brings more numbers to your closet overall, and therefore the probability that you'll make more sales increases based solely on simple math. Not only that, but the most important reason you want to share constantly is Poshmark will rank the items that you share higher in search. Put simply, if you just shared an item, it'll have much more visibility than if you didn't. And that ties me into the next point, which is you need sharing software. In order to get sales, you'll need to spend all day sharing, and if you're doing it manually, nobody wants to do that. And if you're not using sharing software, you're basically competing with one hand tied behind your back against other people that definitely are. And you're going to struggle to get sales, I promise you. Fifth is understanding trends and market timing. So what I mean by that is understand what to list and when. For example, if it's getting warmer out, it's probably time to start listing more things that fit warm weather, like clutch purses or light dresses or shorts or coolers, for example. If it's approaching fall or winter, then maybe it's time to look into listing hats or winter coats or scarves. Obviously, those are easy examples, but hopefully that starts to get you thinking in the right direction. But if you're listing winter coats in the summer, you're going to struggle to make sales. So just have at least some pulse on what to list and when, and you'll sell a lot more organically. Finally, you should think about starting to dropship. If you're reselling products on Poshmark, that's great, but ultimately you're handicapped by how much inventory you have and how good it is. Plus, you'll have to front all the money to purchase it and store it all as well. And dropshipping is such a better business model to at least implement in conjunction with your current inventory. You won't have to front any of the money for the inventory. You won't have to have enough space to store it all, and you can just list whatever products you already know are selling well on other platforms, and that will give you a higher likelihood to make more sales. And if you're under the impression that you can't dropship on Poshmark, you certainly can if you do it correctly. So use this video as a checklist if you want, and try to make sure that you're doing all these things consistently, and I'm willing to bet your sales will start trending upward.
When Poshmark first started, followers were everything, right? The more followers you had, the more people that saw your listings when you shared, and the more sales that you could ultimately make. But over time, as the platform has evolved, it's just like social media has kind of shifted away from follower-based feeds
Poshmark now has as well. So today, the majority of your sales don't come from your followers alone. Instead, they're going to come from search visibility and buyer interest in what's suggested to them, okay? So think about Instagram or TikTok as an example. Your feed is full of content that the algorithm thinks that you'll like, not just posts from people that you follow. And Poshmark kind of has adopted a very similar approach on how your products are suggested to both search and in people's feeds, right? So here's how it's going to actually work. When a buyer searches for something on Poshmark, let's say Nike running shoes, the app doesn't just show them automatically the listings from sellers that they follow, right? Instead, the results are sorted by recency, what is most recently listed or shared, and that is because Poshmark's algorithm has a built-in recency bias. So for whatever reason, it considers newer or freshly shared items more relevant, so it places a higher emphasis on them in search results. And you can actually see this for yourself. Literally go to Poshmark, search something in the search bar, and then you can look on the little sort tab that's like up in the right-hand corner. By default, it is automatically set to recently shared or recently listed, right? That means that your listings, if they're new, or if you just shared them, they're going to show up near the top of search results compared to other ones that were shared or listed, further down the road, right? Like, or not as recently. So that is obviously where most buyers are likely to click. Think of Amazon, for instance, or eBay, for instance, right? Like, you're searching for something with intent to buy, or, if you have an interest in a certain product and you're making a search query, what are you going to find, right? You're not going to go to page 3, page 4. No, you're going to probably go for like the top 4 to 8 products and look at those, maybe a little bit past that, but realistically, you're not going to page 2 in most cases. And in almost every case, you're probably going to find something close to the top. And that is why sharing and automation software, especially on Poshmark, are the keys to success. Followers, they can still help, of course, right? They're a nice bonus, especially when you share to your closet and the people that follow you. It's just like having followers on social media now. It's still a little valuable, but they're not the main driver of sales anymore, especially on Poshmark. Visibility comes from making sure that your listings are constantly refreshed in search, and that's the only possible way to get consistent with sales. And the only way to do that is to share all the time consistently with Poshmark bots, right? So the good news is this is easier now than ever with automation. Tools like Sidekick, like I recommend in this course, can keep your closet active for you all day long without you needing to do it manually. And that obviously will keep them ranked higher in search results all day long without spending hours doing it manually yourself. Now, if you combine that with the right products, then you have a legit formula for steady sales regardless of how many followers you have. It doesn't matter. So here's the takeaway. Followers are nice, right? But they're no longer the game changer they used to be. If you want to win Poshmark today, you need to focus on what really matters, and that is sharing and staying active in the algorithm and choosing products that people actually want to buy. That's how you get consistent sales in today's Poshmark marketplace, and if you do those things, you will succeed. So if you do resell, then one of the things that you're going to need is a good inventory system. Now, I don't resell anymore. I mainly drop ship, but when I did used to resell a ton, I used to have a very good inventory system that was literally labeled just like A1, A2, B3, like all the different boxes and all the different bins to really help kind of categorize everything that I had very easily. And then I would know as soon as I got an order where that specific product was. The reason that you want to do it that way is because if you just start stacking stuff, like you're ordering a bunch of stuff or you're acquiring a bunch of stuff from Coupon website or liquidation or cashback or whatever, and just throwing it in like piles in your basement or in your garage, that works for a time, right? But as you start to scale, it becomes a really big problem really fast. And I'm telling you, it's a headache because you will start to get orders once you start getting a bunch of inventory. And then you'll be like looking around like, I know I have that. Where is it? And it will take you 15 minutes to find a product, 20 minutes to find a product, and you don't want to deal with that. Trust me, all right? So have a good inventory system. Again, I don't resell anymore. I mainly drop ship, but it is a good method for a lot of people as well. If you are reselling, you need a good inventory system, all right? So I made this video in the past on, an inventory system. The quality is not that good. It is a past video, but the information in it is spot on. So here it is.
What's going on, guys? So this is not going to be like a structured or organized video or, high production quality, but I get this question all the time. time, so I wanted to kind of answer it and touch on it for you. You know, how do I run my reselling business? How do I keep it organized, and how can you so that you can scale it? I'm not special. I don't have like some warehouse. I don't rent out a space. I literally do it in my basement, and you can too, or you can do it in your garage. So how do I set up my business? How do I keep it in, you know, organized so that I know where all my inventory is and I can do all the fulfillment and it's not a headache? Because that's one of the biggest mistakes I made in the beginning. It was like a huge headache to kind of manage it, go find products. So key is just stay organized, right? As you can see, I got all my little priority mail boxes for free up there. You know, this is a light box, one of the coolest things that I found to take better product pictures if you need to. I also have something I'm gonna show you over there when we talk about the books here in a second. Got my scale, my Avery labels, obviously, my Gugon, everything that I've talked about on this channel, my tape, I need to get more tape. I got the, you know, the poly mailers, and then I have all these bins, right? And they're all organized. Oh, that's coming off. And they're all organized with lettering, right? So what I do is I'll put something in a bin when I get it, right? So I'll go list that drinking game, right? And I'll maybe put it in bin number C. But so what I'll do is I'll put C at the bottom of the description if it's on eBay or Mercari. And if it's on Poshmark, they actually give you a section at the very bottom with like seller specs, right? So I'll put C in the bottom of that description, right? Then I know when somebody buys it, I look in the description and I think, oh, wow, it's in bin C. And it takes me a minute to go find it in the 20 things or 30 things that are in bin C, rather than trying to go find it throughout all my inventory, right? So key number one, stay organized, right? And as you can see, I have just, you know, products in all these bins, and it's only like 20 or 30 products per bin. Some of them, you know, some of them have more, some of them have less. The key with obviously keeping your inventory, like when you're fulfilling on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari, is, you know, having a system, making sure you're structured so that you can obviously go get the item, ship it out fast. You want to be organized. You want to have a system in place for any business model, but especially, you know, online arbitrage or reselling. The key is, when you're doing that, to keep them in lettered bins and stay organized and have a structure. The other thing I wanted to show you here is this thing is really gonna help you take better Poshmark pictures as well. It's just like a hanging little mannequin doll where you can hang clothes, but also, you know, lighting as well, stuff like that. I don't have any lights set up currently, but usually I do when I start to list. So I hope you got value out of this video. I know it's not high production quality. I know I didn't really have a structure and it doesn't seem like it's too prepared, but it's something I wanted to talk about because I get it all the time. And I'm not special. If I can do it, you can do it. I don't have a warehouse. I didn't invest thousands into setting this up. It's literally just 3 big shelves and, you know, lettered bins.
So I want to briefly show you how to drop ship on Poshmark using Z-Drop from sites like Amazon, Walmart, etc. Really any website that obviously fits the shipping parameters and will get the products to you fast. But obviously for the majority of beginners, I typically recommend Amazon using Amazon Prime and Walmart using Walmart Plus, at least in the beginning, to build the base of your store, right? So I'm going to show you a tutorial here of how to use Z-Drop. Z-Drop is a software I've been using for 5-6 years now. It's great. If you want Z-Drop, you can go to zdrop.com. That is ZEEDROP.com. Sign up for it here. It's $17 a month, but honestly, it is so worth it. If you dropship on other platforms like Facebook Marketplace or anywhere like that, then obviously it's also going to help you copy and paste addresses a lot faster, which saves you so much time when you're processing orders. But the majority of you are just going to be focused on the buttons here that comes with it. So that's going to help you copy listings so much faster to sites like Poshmark, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, you name it, okay? So it literally in just a few seconds copies the title, the description, the pictures, and marks the price up a certain amount that you set, right? So once you sign up for Z-Drop and you install it, you'll be able to sign in here. The first thing that you want to do is come into your settings and actually set it up, right? So you can see I have my profit margin set to 75%. You could set this to whatever you want. Obviously, you want to account for marking the product up so you're making money. You also want to account for any offers that you plan on actually making on the product, right? And you also want to account for any of the site fees, okay? So Poshmark, which we're going to be dropshipping here specifically, has the highest fees of any platform. That's why I have it marked up to 75%. I also have an offer bot that goes through and makes offers to likers at discounts. So I need to mark it up to account for any of the offers. So if my offer bot makes an offer, I don't lose money on a sale, right? You can mark this up 60%, 50%, 40% if you don't plan on making offers. I typically mark them up higher because I'd rather make more money in less sales than more sales, more work, and the same money. But this is just what works for me. Again, you could play around with this, mark them up higher or lower based on what you want. I'd recommend on Poshmark at least 60%, especially when you're starting, right? Now, you can set up the profit percentage or the profit amount if you want that per sale. I always go profit percentage here. So if we unclick that, go back into settings, you'll see it's set to 75%. I don't ever really put custom templates. You can play around with that if you want. I used to do that a lot on Facebook Marketplace when I dropship there. I don't do that on Poshmark or Mercari or anything like that. I literally just have it copy over the actual description, and then I make sure that there's nothing in the description, all right? Now, for quantity, I typically always recommend to set this to 10. You don't want it to have a quantity of 1 or 2 or 3, so that if you get a sale or two really quickly, then you're out of stock on that product and you don't even know it. So you want a decent amount of your quantity, but you also don't want to make your quantity like 100 or 1,000, because that's going to look a little bit shady. It's also going to increase the amount on your store very quickly, so it'll show like their average revenue that you have in stock. If you're having like billions in revenue because your quantity is like 100 every time, that's going to be a red flag, in my opinion. So keep this at 10. That's what I recommend. You could also go 5 or anywhere in between if you want, right? Now, we're going to come back to talk about the run bulk feature here after I actually show you how to list here a few times. But if in the future you want to run bulk, just remember you can't run bulk on anything. You have to come back in your settings and switch what the actual store is that you want to run bulk on, okay? All run bulk does is, instead of copying it one at a time, it lets you copy listings, 5, 10, 50, 100 at a time. But again, I'm going to show you that here in a second. Don't worry about selecting the country. Don't worry about running the monitor. I don't use that for this. I don't monitor any of my stock levels, so you don't really need to worry about that. Now, obviously, we're not dropshipping on Facebook here, but if you were dropshipping on Facebook Marketplace, you could set up your templates here. So hide from friends, automatically publish. You get the picture. And you can see as you scroll through, different stores have different settings that you can actually set up templates for, right? So if you're dropshipping on any one of those, then obviously you'd want to go through and make sure that you're doing those settings. But we are not. So what you want to do is you want to come down here and you want to go to show/hide buttons. And this makes it really easy to show what buttons and what stores you want to copy to, right? So if you want to copy Amazon listings to Poshmark, for example, well, make sure that Poshmark is clicked here. As you can see, Poshmark is clicked. I have all these stores clicked because I actually dropship on and list to all of these. And ZDrop integrates with every one of these stores if you have it clicked, right? But if you don't want to jumble up your feed, so obviously you can see all these buttons, or you're just focused on dropshipping on Poshmark, Mercari, and Facebook Marketplace, whatever the case is, then just select those buttons. It's going to make your life a lot easier because it's not going to confuse you or your virtual assistant if you ever decide to hire and outsource in the future, right? So that's the run of how to set up the settings. Again, all the buttons to where you want to dropship from based on the actual stores that you're listing on. And then the basics are just set your profit, set your quantity, and then come back over on the bulk feature after I show you 1 or 2 listings, right? So once you set it up, it's just as easy as being on the listing, whether it's Walmart, whether it's Amazon, where it's wherever. If you need to know the actual sites that ZDrop integrates with, just go to zdrop.com. You see that they support all of these marketplaces. As you can see, Poshmark is on here. It also supports all of these, so you can copy from any of the sites. I'll show you them here in a second, of the hundreds of sites that they actually copy products from, to any of the marketplaces that they copy products to. So you could take any of these. For example, you could copy IKEA to Poshmark. You could copy IKEA to Mercari, IKEA to eBay, IKEA to Facebook, IKEA to Shopify. You get the picture, right? You could also copy Kmart to any one of those. So you can copy any one of these stores to any one of those marketplaces. It is a game changer. You just need to make sure that you're on the listing on one of the websites that it lets you, and obviously have this button checked off in the back end of your settings in ZDrop, and you can copy those products, right? And it's just going to copy the title, like I said, the description, the pictures, and mark the price up automatically based on what you set that percentage to be when you set up your settings. Again, I did 75%. So let's go to a listing here. Obviously, you want to do product research, and you want to make sure that you're listing hot in-demand products. But then it's really easy, right? You're just going to click the copy to Poshmark button, let it run. It's going to bring Poshmark up automatically. Obviously, you need to be signed into that website already, so sign into your Poshmark account. You'll see it pops up with a paste by ZDrop. Click paste by ZDrop. It's going to take 10 to 15 seconds roughly to copy everything over. You can see it copies everything else fast, and then it copies the picture a little bit slower. So give it like 10, 15 seconds per listing. As soon as the pictures pop up, then you can accept them, and then you know you're ready to move through and edit the listing. So there we go. The pictures, you can obviously make sure the best picture's in the front. If you want to switch up the picture, you just drag it as the actual picture right here with the check mark, apply it, or you could also drag them here later on. And then you just want to go through and you want to edit everything around, right? So you need to take 45 characters out of this title because it can't be greater than 80 characters. So I'm going to cap it at 10 right there. You will be slow in the beginning when you don't know how to actually go through and make these listings a little bit easier. But as you do a few of them, you'll get very quick at it very fast. Like I can probably list manually copying from like Amazon or Walmart to Poshmark realistically in like 30 seconds a listing. You just have to kind of know what to look for and be very quick at it, and Poshmark helps you do that. So does the bulk feature. I'll show you that shortly. And then you just want to make sure that anything in the description isn't giving any money back guarantees, any brand information for that actual brand, or any warranty information or anything like that. Now, typically speaking on Amazon, that's going to be the last bullet point most of the time, not always, but most of the time. So just take a look at the actual description. Obviously, check to make sure that there's no warranty, no brand information, no money back guarantees, nothing about it being an Amazon product. And then if not, you're good. Just keep everything else in there and delete all the things that you need to out of the description. Category, you just categorize it. So what is this? Obviously, it's a sign. So just find the best category. Again, you will be slower at finding categories in the beginning, but as you do 5, 10, 15 products, you will know immediately, oh, it's this category and how to find them so much faster. So you will be slow in the beginning. That is fine. You will get faster, I promise you. This is like second nature now. I can list on all these platforms super fast. So this is a tin sign. You could put it in other. You could put it in home, wall decor, other. You get the picture. I'm probably going to choose wall decor here, and we'll say art and decals. Now, multi-item, I always say 10. Is this new with tags since we're dropshipping new products? Obviously it is. The brand, if you're dropshipping third-party products from Amazon, I wouldn't worry about putting the brand in. The only time you want to put the brand in is if it's a popular, recognizable brand and you're reselling most of the time, because then it's going to bring eyes to that listing because it's a popular brand, right? Nike, Adidas, DeWalt, stuff like that. But if you're drop shipping a product with a popular brand name, you probably don't want to put the brand name in there because then people are just going to price check it on other websites. So most of the time I leave the brand blank. I also typically leave the color blank, although if it's something specific where you're drop shipping clothing on Poshmark or something of the sort, you could obviously add the color. That's going to help increase your conversion rate, help give the buyer more information about the product, and help decrease the friction to the sale. Now, tags, you always want to put tags in here. So what is this? It's a sign, it's decor. And if you need ideas for the keywords to put in there, you can just look through the description or the title and find what to actually put, right? So I'm going to say Halloween is another one. It doesn't just have to be like one keyword as well. You can put multiple keywords. So you could have Halloween sign, enter, and then your keyword would be Halloween sign. So anytime someone types Halloween sign in, yours is going to have a higher likelihood to pop up. You get the picture, right? Now, original price and listing price, I always put original price at 0, and I put the listing price based on what it marks up at, right? Because it's going to mark both of those up. You can see this is $8 on Amazon. It marked it up 75%, which is $14. Another rule of thumb for me is if it's always, I tell my VAs this as well, in the beginning, you will not have a VA. You won't be outsourcing any of the listing. You're going to be doing this yourself. It's going to go so fast with the bulk feature. But as a rule of thumb, I typically put the listing price if it's under $25 just to make an extra markup on the profit, because I don't want to do the legwork for like $3 or like $2 often. I'll always put anything that's under $25 as the listing price after ZDrop marks it up to $25 minimum. I don't sell anything under $25 unless I'm getting an offer or my offer bot is making an offer. That's the only time where I'll actually accept something lower than that. And then we just list, right? I always keep the original price 0 and the listing price at what I actually want it to be. I find that looks better. Some people try to actually put the original price higher and the listing price lower. What that does is it puts the price on the listing, crosses it out, and makes it look like $25 is the sale going on. I find that it doesn't increase conversion rate. It actually has the opposite effect. So I like the clean look of having 0 as the original price, so it doesn't look like it's on sale. This is the price of the item. It's brand new. This is what it's worth. And then obviously let your offer bot do the work, let your share bot do the work so that you're getting more sales. And again, we're going to cover all of that later on, so do not worry. And then you just next and list it. Boom, list the item. If it pops up with any warning here, perfect example, fragile item detected, oversized item detected, just publish the listing anyway, don't worry about it. And there you go, we listed our first item, right? So let's list one more and then I'll show you how the actual bulk lister works. So copy to Poshmark, there it goes, it copies to Poshmark. As soon as the paste button pops up here, we'll paste by ZDrop, give it 10-15 seconds to copy over, and then as soon as the pictures pop up, we know it's fully copied and we can just add the pictures and then move on to editing the listing. There we go. Now apply them. Again, make sure the best picture's in the front. First thing we're going to do is come down here and edit the title. I typically take the brand name out. So if there's a brand name in the beginning, as you can see, Goose right there, I'll take that out. We'll start taking out some here at the title. So there we go. Title done. Now, again, you're going to want to go through the actual description and make sure that there's no warranty, brand information, anything about it selling on Amazon, any money back guarantees. As long as there's nothing in there, you can obviously keep the majority of it. Just read through really quickly, make sure all that's not in there. So if it's a description like this, where obviously A, we're way over the actual character limit of 1,500, and we need to take a bunch out. But B, a lot of this won't really help you typically make more sales. Obviously, the more keywords in there, the higher likelihood it's going to show up for a number of things. But typically speaking, the actual main description is going to be good, so I'll delete all that. Obviously, the last bullet point here has nothing about brand warranty or money back guarantee, so we're good. Then we're going to list this. So this is home decor. I'm going to say holiday because it's holiday decor, and there we listed it, right? And there we categorized it. Now, multi-item, 10. If it's obviously a clothing item, then you want to add another size, put like small, medium, whatever the size availability is. I typically avoid myself clothing items, although clothing items sell well on Poshmark. That's because I have a VA that does it full-time every single day, so they'll list the clothing items for me, but obviously that's going to take a little bit more time. Clothes are a great thing to get into. They do take a little bit longer to list because obviously you had to add the variations and the sizes, but they do sell well on Poshmark as well, so play around with what works best for you and what's the best allocation of your time. In the beginning, you probably don't want to do clothes if you're trying to get to that $1,000 a month mark, but again, once you get there, by all means start adding clothes. Outsource to a virtual assistant to list for you. But that's something that we can talk about once you get there as the next step. Let's get you to that 1,000 first. New with tags, yes. Add this item into your boutique, yes. Brand, again, we always keep that blank most of the time. You probably will too most of the time. Color, you could add it if you want to, but again, I keep that blank most of the time. This is a spider. It's a Halloween decoration. And we'll look for one more keyword in the actual listing. So inflatable or yard blow up is a good one as well. There we go. Original price is going to be 0. I'm going to leave the listing price 47 because it already marked it up 75% from 27 to 47. So obviously there's that built-in price there, right? It also tells you what you're going to make after all the Poshmark fees are taken out if you sell it at $47. So you know that if you sell this at $47, you're going to make $37.60. You're going to buy it from Amazon at $27. So you will be making a little bit over $10 if you sell this on Poshmark. And that is how you list on Poshmark with Z-Drop. It is that simple, okay? So now let me show you how the bulk list feature works. So the bulk list feature is going to save you so much time. It's going to list all these products really quickly, so you don't have to wait here as they're listing. Click one over to list it, and then click Paste by Z-Drop. Wait 15 seconds for it to list the actual pictures, and then click and go through it, right? The bulk list feature is going to actually pop them all up on Poshmark for you automatically. You need to obviously give it the time to list, but the benefit of it is you can go off and do something else in your business. You can go off and eat lunch. You could take a walk. Whatever the case is, you can move about your life, come back 20, 30 minutes later, depending on how many listings you actually added to your bulk list, and then it will do it all for you. And then you just need to come back. You can X out of all the Amazon tabs and then edit each listing just like you would have before, but now you can edit them all in once instead of waiting for them all to copy. It's a game changer, okay? So to add the bulk list feature, again, we need to go back into settings to make sure that we haven't changed it to Facebook Marketplace or Mercari. If you wanted a bulk list there, you would, again, just change the settings. So go back to settings, go to the run bulk/multiple listings here, and make sure whatever store that you actually want to run bulk on is selected there, okay? So we want to list it on Poshmark, so make sure it's checked. It is. And then when you're done, obviously, one thing I forgot to say is make sure that you save your button status right here with this button and save this after you change it. Otherwise, it will just go back to the default. So save your button status after you obviously select which stores you want the buttons to be, whichever the blue ones are. Save your button status. Whenever you make a change to the percentage, or in this case, the run bulk feature or whatever, so it saves it to your actual settings, and then you're good to go. If you don't save it, it will just go back to the default, okay? So now that we've changed the actual bulk feature to do it for Poshmark, now we can go back to these, and now instead of copying to Poshmark, we are going to save them to the bulk list, okay? And the bulk list is going to be up here on Z-Drop. If you go to Z-Drop and bulk, there we go. There's 2 in the bulk list already. So we're going to save to the bulk list. There we go. Let it work. As soon as the pictures go, it's saved to the bulk list. Now, if we come back to the bulk list, you can see there's 3 in there with this product in there now. X out of that. And now we're going to save all of these to the bulk list if we wanted just the bulk to do it for us. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. And you can do this with 10 products, 20 products, 50 products. I typically don't recommend people go over 50 products, obviously, because Sometimes it can lag out. So the magic number is roughly 50 products, but obviously you could try it a little bit further if you wanted to go a little bit further than that. But listing 50 products at a time is going to be very quickly. With that, you can get a few hundred products up in a day if you really want to get it done, or even 1,000, honestly, if you're really kind of working through it, and get a lot of products very quickly and make some decent money, assuming you're sharing and listing good products, of course. But this is going to change the game for you because you can list products so much faster now, right? So now if I want to actually run the bulk list, you can see it added all of those products to it. I'm going to come back, select all, and then run the bulk list. I'm going to show you that here in a second, actually running and how you can edit it. But keep in mind, every single time you want to add new products to a bulk list, after you list all those, come back and delete all the products in this bulk list, right? By clicking the actual trash bin next to it, and then it will delete that product. There you saw that disappeared. Delete that product. There you saw it disappeared, right? So I want to list these all in bulk. I'm going to select them all and then run bulk and just go about my life, right? As soon as I click run bulk, you see it go. It's going to start listing the product by copying the first item in the bulk list to Poshmark. And the benefit is I don't need to be here doing this myself. It's going to do it all for me. And then again, leave the Poshmark windows up with all the information and all the pictures and the markup there. So I can just come back when I'm ready, edit everything around like I showed you before, submit the listing. It goes so much faster that way. All right, guys. So use this. It's going to change the game for you. This is how you drop ship products from Amazon, Walmart, eBay, Etsy, wherever, on the Poshmark, on the Facebook Marketplace, on wherever. Again, just check CDrop. If it fits with that website to that website, you can list it. Hope it helps.
All right, so I got a question here on how to find Poshmark things to drop ship, how to do Poshmark product research. So there's a number of different ways, but perhaps the easiest way and the most successful way is just find other successful closets that are already selling well. So as you can see, this person right here, 3,600 listings. Now this person looks like a reseller. They have a bunch of the same backgrounds as you can see here, but you just scroll down until you see sold items on the left. It sorts for their sold items. And now you can see their most recent sold items, right? Now, obviously this person looks like they're reselling a ton of these, but the whole key here is you can see what they've sold recently and then list similar things like that, right? It obviously helps if you find somebody that's drop shipping. This person I feel like is a mix of someone that's drop shipping and reselling a little bit. They got a ton of white background images. So what we would do, and again, 36, almost 3,700 listings, we'd scroll down until we see sold items on the left right here. Boom. Sort it. And now you can see what's been selling for them recently. So these Uggs, 90 bucks. Let's check to see if maybe that's an Amazon item. I bet you they're probably drop shipping this. So let's just copy that in. See if that's an Amazon item. Boom. And there you go. Okay, well, that one's actually 145, so they might not be drop shipping that, or they might be drop shipping that on another supplier, right? But you get the picture, right? That's all you do. You sort it for their past solds, and then you can see what's been selling for them recently. Obviously, it benefits you if you find a drop shipper, because then you can see exactly what they're drop shipping successfully recently. And if you list similar things like that, chances are, it's not a magic pill, it's not definite, but chances are if you start listing more things like that, then you will also have some level of success. So that's the easiest way, right? You could also just list things that are working for you on other platforms. So if you sell on Amazon, Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, Mercari, whatever the TikTok shop, right? Whatever the case is. Another easy way is just list trending items or seasonal items, right? So right now it's almost October, Halloween stuff, right? Anything holiday stuff. Obviously, we're coming up on Thanksgiving, Christmas, anything that's like cold weather, right? Again, it's almost October, so probably want to list like sweaters or coats or winter gloves and stuff like that, right? You probably wouldn't have a lot of success listing bathing suits, right? So you get the picture. You could ask ChatGPT or any of the AI softwares out there to suggest to you trending items right now for the fall or whatever the case is, but those are how you find hot selling products for Poshmark. It's really easy.
So what's the best way to do product research when you're selling or drop shipping on Poshmark? Now, there's many different ways, and my best tried and true method is just list a bunch of different things that obviously you have a decent idea will do well at that current time period. So for example, right now we're in summer, so you want to list like light clutch purses or bathing suits or coolers, things that go along with that. As we move forward into fall and winter, you're going to want to list things like coats, pants, heavier stuff, jackets. And so you want to use that and kind of test different things. And then once you see something that works for you, then double down and list more things like that, just different variations.
But if you want a tried and true method that's actually working for what's selling currently on the platform right now, what you can do is you can reverse engineer other people's best listings and then list stuff like that. So if you're really strapped for ideas and you don't want to do like the throw shit at a wall and see what sticks approach, then what you can do is you can find closets that are selling well on the platform by just finding a shop that actually has a lot of listings. As you can see, this one right here has 24,813 listings and a decent amount of sales. And then you scroll down to availability right here and you click on sold items, and it will tell you all their sold items, and you can just scroll down, see what they've sold, and then list certain things like that, or even list that exact item if you can find the supplier, right? Now, it's not always going to be a drop shipper. If it is a drop shipper, this one looks like they probably are a drop shipper. So then in that case, we could reverse engineer their listing, list the same thing, since we know that at least there's some kind of demand on the platform currently. For example, this leather case for like watch boxes sold twice recently, as we can see here. And so if we reverse engineer where this listing is, we can list that same exact product from that same exact supplier. Paste that into Amazon. I bet you it's probably an Amazon listing. There it is right there. Yep, it's that one right there. So this person's literally selling this for $69 on Poshmark. It sells on Amazon for $29. So after fees, they're probably making $15, $20 profit on this, just selling this, right? Now, if you're not sure if it's selling on Amazon or Walmart Plus, then what you can do instead is you just download one of the pictures, try a couple different ones. Obviously, the main one's going to be pretty easy to find as well. And then you just reverse image search it in Google, and I bet you we find that same exact listing. So put that one into Google, see what pops up, and let's see if it finds the listing for us. It found one on Amazon.sa, found one on Amazon.in and Amazon.uk, found the same one on eBay and Etsy, but for whatever reason, it found one on Walmart, so this also might be on Walmart as well. And it did not it did find the Amazon one. There we go. So it's also selling right here on Amazon. It looks like a similar one. This is not the same one, but it is also selling on Walmart, but it's out of stock. So that's what I'd recommend for you. You either go down and literally list the same exact products if you want to take the time to reverse engineer where their supplier is, because you know that they're already selling, or you just see what type of items they're selling and list products similar to that. So if you're strapped for ideas, like what could you list? Well, you could list smaller trash cans like this, metal trash cans, or you could list charging stands for PS5 controllers, or you could list cufflinks, or you could list, polarized sunglasses or watches like this in this price range. And so this is a really good way to do product research on Poshmark. In my opinion, doing like the throw shit at a wall and seeing what sticks approach is best, because it doesn't take as much time with something like Z-Drop. You can just bulk list a bunch of different things. And then if a few things sell, list more like that. But this works really, really well. It just takes a little bit more time to find the suppliers. But just like product research on any other marketplace, once you do, then you can list that, and you can even undercut them as well. So if somebody is looking for this exact product, and now instead of listing it for $69, which clearly it's selling on Poshmark, we could list it for $65, undercut them, and then make like $10 profit instead of their $15 profit. And now we're taking all the sales and all the profit from them. So try this out. It works really well.
All right, so really briefly, I want to cover maximizing your profits with a cashback credit card and cashback portals. Now, this is a no-brainer. Everybody should be doing this if you can. Now, the only caveat here is if you're young or you're irresponsible with money, then I would not say to do this. Instead, I would just use a debit card. Don't do this because you obviously don't want to use a credit card if you feel like you can't manage it. That's totally fine. I was in that place in the past. And there was one point in my life where I had like $20,000 in credit card debt. So I get it. I've been there, right? Now, if you are responsible and you feel like you can use a credit card and pay off that credit card with your profit, which you should be able to do if you're just a little bit disciplined and you manage your money well, then you should use a credit card. The reason being is you're going to get 5% cash back on a lot of your purchases, or 2% cash back if you're using another one. And depending on where you're shopping all the time, you're going to get a ton. Now, obviously that's cash back, but it instantly increases your profit margins, right? Because, for example, like if I'm using Amazon as a supplier, or I'm drop shipping from Amazon, or I'm buying from eBay, or I'm using whatever the case is, wherever I'm buying, and I'm getting, in this case, 5% cash back, that instantly increases my margin 5%. So if I was making 15% before, now I'm making 20. If I was making 40% before, now I'm making 45, right? It is instant profit that you're getting just for using their card for purchases that you're already going to make, right? It's not like you're going out and spending more money to get cash back. That's not what I'm saying. in this, it's an ROI business, right? You need to spend money to make money, whether you're drop shipping or you're reselling in a lot of cases. And so if you're already spending this money, you might as well use a cashback credit card. That's what I'm saying, right? So Amazon Store Card, I have used this for, I don't even know how long, like 10 years. It's been phenomenal. I have literally made, I keep in mind, I used to drop ship really heavily, a ton. I still do, but I've probably made, I don't know, $50,000 ish. And that's just ballparking it like on cashback here. It's kind of crazy. So they give you a ton of cash back every single month for using this. You can obviously just redeem it for points on Amazon if you want, or you can redeem it for credit on your Amazon card. It's great. I highly recommend this. I cannot recommend it enough. I will link this card to this lecture. I believe that there's a deal. So you get a certain specific, I think it's like a $50 statement credit or something like that by signing up through my link. And obviously I do as well, full disclosure. The next one is the eBay store card. And all these are ones that I literally have. I have all of these. Okay. So I have the Amazon store card. I have the eBay store card, same thing. 5 times points, so it's basically 5% cash back, roughly. It doesn't say 5% cash back, but that's literally what it ends up being because they give you points, which you can then redeem for statement credits, or you can also just redeem for credits on eBay. So with those points, you can literally redeem them for free eBay stuff. So if you're buying anyway, you just, next time you purchase, you don't use your card, you use the points, and literally it's the same thing as 5% cash back, right? So I use this all the time. And again, I have used this for probably like 3 to 4 years because I just started using eBay within the last few years as a more legitimate supplier. For a while, I was using Amazon a ton, still do obviously, but now I use eBay a lot more as well, both of them. And so this is a card that you should definitely have as well. Both of these are Synchrony Bank. They're super easy to set up, so like you don't need great credit to have them. And then one of the other ones that I used to use was the Walmart card. The Walmart store card gave you 5% cash back just like Amazon because, again, that's a great supplier. They discontinued that, which is a shame because I used it all the time like 5-6 months ago. So you can't use that one anymore. But those were the 3 main ones that I used, the Amazon, the Walmart, and the eBay. Amazon and eBay are still around. Use them while you still can. They're great cards to give you basically 5% cash back. And again, instantly increase your profit margins 5% if you use those as suppliers. And again, we're going to cover, like I said, like a ton of the drop shipping in this course. Like if you're drop shipping, like you should be using them anyway, a ton. So it's free money. The next one is the Discover It card. Now, I love this card because it's great for beginners. Almost everybody can get accepted for this card, even with poor credit, and it gives you 5% cash back. Now, 5% cash back is not on every single purchase. It's only on specific purchases that you literally have to delegate, right? So you can choose the specific ones depending on that month or that quarter or whatever, and it's really easy to pick them. It lets you pick them in either the app or like when you sign in to Discover, and I do it all the time, so you can pick like Target or Amazon sometimes, or other things like grocery stores or whatever, gas stations, whatever. And for example, like one of the options that you can pick, like even Lowe's I've seen, one of the options that you can pick is Target, and Target has free 2-day shipping as well. It also has free pickup as well. So you can literally use this to get 5% cash back at Target if you select that, right? And that's just one example. There's a bunch of other places that you can utilize this, not just Target. So Discover It card is literally a phenomenal cashback credit card with up to 5% cash back for beginners that literally don't have great credit or might be super young. Like, this is a great card, again, if you're responsible. I still have this card. I still use it. It's still in the back of my phone every single day. I use this all the time. And I will link this. Again, I think you get a $50 or $100 statement credit. So your first $50 that you spend, your first $100 that you spend is completely free by going through the link attached to this lecture for that. And again, full disclosure, I get that as well. So it helps us both out. And then it's just a great card on top of that. And I'm going to link all these cards as well. So those are the top cashback credit cards, in my opinion. If you don't use those, you can literally pick anyone, but you should be getting cash back. There are plenty out there that will give you 2% cash back on all your purchases. So that's another option if you don't want to get any of the ones I recommended already. Just Google top credit cards that give you cash back, top cashback credit cards, and you can see pretty much there are a number of them out there that will give you 2% cash back. I think I have a Chase Freedom one that does that as well. I have a bunch of them. But that's another great option if you don't want to go with a specific card and you just want cash back on all your purchases and you don't have to specifically use a supplier. Like if you're going to use like liquidation sites or, other things like that where they're not super specific and they're kind of rogue, then that's a great option as well. Although you could also use the Discover It card for those too, right? So those are the cashback credit cards. Now let's move on to cashback portals. Again, something that's a no-brainer. These don't cost you anything to use. They're just additional that you can utilize on your purchases. So Rakuten's one of them. Honey is one of them, and Capital One Shopping is one of them. Now, Capital One Shopping is great. There's a lot of different ways that this is great. You can download it. It's completely free, and it will, regardless of the website, try to find coupon codes so that you get cheaper products. It is a great one. However, I don't use this because I like Rakuten better, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. And you can use multiple ones, although it ends up being a hassle because they all try to go at the same time, and sometimes they override each other, and it kind of screws you over. So I wouldn't use multiple ones. I would just use one. I would pick one that you like the best. I think Capital One is probably second. This is probably third. And then Rakuten's number one, hands down. I still use this all the time. So Capital One is great. It's going to give you coupon codes on, websites all across, and just scan the internet for the best coupons for that website. It's great if you want to use that, but I don't use it, but it is great. Honey is okay. I used to use Honey a ton, but it gives you like points that you can redeem it for money, but you can also redeem it for like gift cards. But I've found that like the equivalent value of redemption is not the best. And it, again, overrides with Rakuten. So if you use Rakuten or Capital One, it's going to override it so that this is what you use. And I just don't like this one as much. It gives you, again, credits that you can redeem for like gift cards often. And you have to wait a long time before you can actually do that. I don't like it. I found personally that Rakuten is the best. It is the simplest that you can use. And it's literally just an extension that pops up regardless of where you're at, right? So like, for example, let's say I'm, let's go to Target. Anywhere, really. There's like hundreds or thousands of websites it will pop up. And when you're on Target or eBay or anything, it will literally pop up and say activate cashback. So this is going to give me 1% cashback on Target, but depending on where I'm at, like it might give me 5% or 2% or 3% or sometimes 10 or 15% cash back. And then that literally cash back ends up being cash back into your Rakuten account. Like you get it instantly in your account, but you don't get to redeem it. They send you a check every quarter. So if, for example, you're going to buy $100 on a website and they're giving you 5% cash back on Rakuten, that's $5 that's going to go into your Rakuten account that you can get, and that just stacks up to hundreds and thousands of dollars that they send you a check every quarter. So every 3 months, they'll send you a check. It's a game changer. Like this is telling you you're going to get 1% cash back. You just activate it, let it run, and then you do your shopping and boom. And it's that simple. Same thing with, like, for eBay, for example. Let's see what it's going to give me on eBay. Pops up with Rakuten. I think it's 1% cashback on eBay as well. But depending on the actual website, so if we go back to Rakuten, like, it's going to tell you the specific cashback deal. So Fanatics, 2%, 14% cashback on Temu. That's wild right now. 10% cashback on Disney Store. 3% cashback on Vineyard Vines. 2% cashback on Champs, 7% cashback on Michael Kors. Like, there's a ton here. And let's just go through some of favorites. 2% at Chewy, 8% at Nike, 2% at Macy's, 2% at Old Navy, 7% on Groupon. Like, you get the picture. There's some great deals here. So, for example, like if you end up like using like PetSmart as a supplier, which is somewhere I used to dropship from all the time, like 4% cash back means if you're spending, $100 on like dog food or whatever, you're going to get $4 cash back instantly into your Rakuten account that you wouldn't have otherwise made, right? So that is instantly increasing your margins 4% automatically. Now, you don't get access to that $4 right away. You have to wait till the end of the quarter for them to send you the check, but you still get it, and it still increases your margin. And I don't want to get too into the semantics of it with like accounting and everything, because I'm not an accountant, so take this with a grain of salt. But I have a best friend that's an accountant, that's a CPA. We go over this all the time. And the cool thing about cashback credit cards, number one, and cashback portals is that it is not tax deductible. So you don't have, like, while you can use these business credit cards and these cashback portals to, for your business as an expense and expense that off your business, the cashback that you get is not something that you have to report as income. So it's free money that you're getting just on top of it for purchases that you would have already had to make, right? So I don't want to get too into that, but it is something that's a game changer. So again, cashback credit cards, cashback portals. I will link all the deals that I find to these, the Amazon store card, the eBay store card, the Discover It card, and I'll link Rakuten because that's one that I recommend. You can go Honey or Capital One Shopping if you want to, but I found that Rakuten is the best. I've been using this for like a decade. It's phenomenal. So all linked. Definitely use these. They're going to increase your margins instantly. All right, so when you're making your product listings, obviously there's multiple ways to do it. You could just input them manually, but why would you do that? Now, when you're using it's going to be twofold, right? If you're drop shipping, then you're just going to use the buttons to copy from the actual listing, regardless of where your supplier is, right? So, for example, if you're copying to Mercari, you just copy to Mercari. If you're copying to Poshmark, you copy to Poshmark. If you're copying to wherever you're copying to, you just use the software to do it for you, and it will copy that directly over. It will take the title, the picture, the description, and automatically mark the price up, right? Now, that's from your supplier, right? But if you're reselling, what should you do, right? Do you need to take your own product pictures? You can. Do you need to write your own product description and product titles? You can. Or what you could do is just use a pre-existing listing and find that product, because chances are there's a 99% chance that you can find a listing of that product with decent pictures already, whether that's Amazon, eBay, another website, or wherever. You can generally find it. Worst case scenario, you could take your own product pictures, but if there's already a listing, you might as well just use that, right? So what I'll typically do is I'll search the brand and the product on Amazon to try to find that. And then you can just use that specific listing when you find it on Amazon, if you find that product on Amazon. If you can't, then just search Google, right? Put the brand name in there. So let's say it was like a DeWalt. This is a completely made up product, but like you get the picture. Let's say it was like a DeWalt, like, I don't know, 166C W550, nail gun, yellow, whatever, right? Then you would search that in Google, see if you can find a product listing of that. I literally just made that up, so I'm sure this is an actual thing, but you get the picture, right? You try to find that specific product with a listing already, and then you can utilize their pictures, their listing, their description, and then obviously see what it's going for a little bit on certain websites, right? And that's a really good way to do it, because then you don't need to waste your time taking the product pictures, writing the description, all that other stuff. You could just use somebody else's and save you a bunch of time. And that might not seem like a big deal, but if you're listing a bunch of stuff and you're reselling, like, that's going to take you a while to do. People always joke, like, to get through your listings, it takes a while, but like, you can just shortcut it by using a listing from somebody else that's already up, assuming just make sure that it is the same exact product, right? So search the brand, search the product. Chances are you'll find that product somewhere online, if not Amazon, right? Then utilize those listings and obviously just make it clear that that's yours, right? Like, make some distinction there. Now, you could also have AI write it for you. You could ask ChatGPT. You could ask Copilot. You could have AI improve the listing for you. So, for example, we took like one of these eBay listings, and it like didn't have a good description, but it had decent pictures or whatever the case is. We could just have AI rewrite it better for us and say, hey, here's the product, here's the description, here's everything we know about it. Write a good, I don't know, paragraph or two description that's SEO and keyword friendly. That would obviously improve my results in search results. Like, make a prompt for you and then run all your products through that prompt, and AI will write you a great bang up description with a ton of SEO that will obviously increase the likelihood that you'll be found on the platform, so you'll sell it better. So now you're using their pictures, but you're improving on their listing, right? That's a really great way to do it. And one app that works really well, there's a bunch out there now with a bunch of AI software, but one app that works really well is called Photo Room. So Photo Room like this, and you can just search that in the App Store, and that will take product pictures but then instantly remove the background for you. So it will, regardless if you take it like on a bed or you take it on a floor, like it will cut out automatically the background around your product, and then you can put a white background, you can put whatever you want instantly. So it's a great way to take other good photos, right? So 2 ways to product list when you're drop shipping: just use the buttons from ZDrop. They're a game changer. From your supplier. It doesn't have to be Amazon, but we're just using Amazon in this case. Or if you resell, then you can search for that product on Amazon or Google, find a specific listing, utilize their pictures, utilize their listing, or have AI write it for you, or have AI improve a current listing, and use an app like Photo Room, worst case scenario, if you need to take your own pictures. So hope it helps. All right, so if you're in the US, then this lecture doesn't apply to you. You can obviously skip it. But one of the questions I get asked from people outside the US all the time is, can I do this outside the US? And the answer is yes, you can do this outside the US. It's very easy. And you just need a prep center, okay? So obviously you need a VPN and a prep center. A VPN just so that you can have an IP address within the US. There's a ton of VPNs out there. I have, AVG. You can use whatever one you want as long as it's going to give you an IP in the US. And there's a bunch of free ones and a bunch of cheap ones out there that will work great. Then you sign up for a Poshmark account. Then to actually do the fulfillment, you just need a prep center, right? So a prep center, rather than like, for example, like let's say you're doing the dropship arbitrage, like we're teaching in this course. Well, then you would just need a prep center to receive your Amazon orders and then ship them out using your label, right? So this is a great, tool that you can utilize, selleressentials.com/amazon-fba-prep-services, or you can just Google at Seller Essentials Prep Centers and it will show you. And then you scroll down and it has a ton of prep centers listed here that you can utilize. So I would go through, and these are some of the best ones out there. I would go through and contact some of these. The reason being is it's going to depend on what you actually, where, like the time that you contact them, right? So sometimes this one might be good. 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 It just depends on the time of year and how busy they are and what they quote you, right? So they'll be more inclined, if they don't have a ton of customers at the current time, to take you for less money, right? And if they're super jam-packed and it's like, Q4 at the end of holiday season, like they might quote you some outrageous price because, they have a ton of people already and they just don't have enough inventory, or they just don't have enough workers to obviously receive more inventory. And so they're basically quoting you a crazy price so that if you say yes, okay, great, then they're making good money on their time. But if not, then they're basically like, hey, like we can't really deal with you right now because we're super busy, right? So the reason I'm saying that is there are a bunch of them. People always ask me once I tell them that, like, what's the best prep center? And I'm like, it just depends on the time and that specific prep center and how many, customers they have at that current time period. So what I would say is go to the Seller Essentials website right here. And again, just to find this, it's super easy. It's going to give you a list of prep centers. You go Seller Essentials Prep Center in Google, and it should pop up with one of the first ones to find, prep centers right there. Bang. And that's going to take you here where you can literally click on and go to the prep centers websites, contact them. And what I would recommend is contact 5 to 10 of these guys and go with a person that is the most helpful, and go with the prep center, that is the most helpful with the best price, okay? Because, for example, like, let's say you contact like these 8 right here, right? You want to go with the one that's the most helpful and has the best price combined, because this one right here might be super helpful and be willing to do a bunch of things for you, but maybe they quote you $4 a product, which is outrageous and you should never go that route, right? This one might be, kind of helpful, but like their price is like $2.50 a product. This one might be super helpful, but their price is $5 a product. This one might be terribly, like they were not very pleasant to deal with on the phone, so they weren't very helpful, but they quote you 50 cents a product. And then like, it's like, where do you find the balance there, right? So you want to contact a bunch of them so that you're going to get a bunch of different touch points to see which one's helpful and which one gives you the best price, because you want somebody that's obviously going to help you and work with you and be willing to receive and work with you while they're receiving your products and shipping them out. But also, you also want somebody that's not going to quote you an arm and a leg. So I would say, depending on the time of year and depending on how busy they are, you can get them to receive your products for about 50 cents to $1. Sometimes it'll be all the way up to $2. I wouldn't go more than $2 with most prep centers unless they're super helpful and willing to do pretty much everything for you, right? And that is super easy to do, because even if you're outside the US and you're making like $10 a product, $15 a product, whatever the case is, and you're giving away $2 or even $3, whatever, to a prep center, you're still making, if you were making $15 before, now you're making $13, and the prep center's handling all of that for you. So it's a great way to obviously, if you want something that's a little bit more hands-off and you're within the US, then you can go this route. But for people that are outside the US, you just need a VPN, obviously, and then you just need a prep center. And again, contact 5 to 10 of these and go with the one that's the most helpful and has the cheapest quote for you per product. So some will quote you 50 cents, some will quote you $1, some will quote you $1.25, some might quote you $2, some might quote you $3, some might be super helpful, some might be like kind of in the middle and they're like a little bit helpful, and some are like, terrible to deal with and you don't want to do it. Again, it's just to depend on, that specific prep center, how busy they are, and who picks up the phone to actually help you and what their parameters are, right? So this is a great housing spot for a bunch of great prep centers. You don't need to just go with these, but these are, a lot of the top ones. So contact these. Hope it helps, but that's how you do it from outside the US. So really quick lecture here on shipping settings and how you can save time and make sure that you're always using the correct label. Initially, when we first started, I used to tell people to actually physically write it in pen or pencil on the back of the label that you're printing out, so you know exactly what item that label corresponds to, because it's not that difficult in the beginning, obviously, when you're only getting a few orders. But as you scale and you're getting 10 orders a day, 20 orders potentially a day, especially during like Q4 when it's really going crazy, if you don't have a good
shipping label system, it's really easy to mix up the labels, and that is a headache, right? So I used to tell people to actually write in pen on the back of the label what the item title was when they printed it out, just so they know when they receive that item, that's the corresponding label that goes with it, and it's really easy to pair them up. But you actually don't even need to do that. This was brought to my attention about a year ago. So if you go to your settings here and you go to account settings, then you come over to shipping label settings. Obviously, I have the printable label right here in 4:6 because I use the Polano printer, which is the label printer, the thermal printer. You will probably have it set up with a printable label at 8.5 and 11. So obviously, if you're switching labels, switch to the 4:6. That way you can print out the sticky labels, and that's covered in another lecture. But you'll also see the packing slip right here is on as well, and add SKU to packing slip, which is also crucial as well, right? So click both of these on here, and that's going to print your labels with another thing at the bottom of the label that's going to tell you exactly what that label corresponds with, right? So if you sell a white wool glove, as an example, it will literally print out the picture of the white wool glove and the actual title of that listing, so it's impossible to mix them up. This has been a game changer. It's saved me so much time, and I no longer have to actually physically write what it is on the labels. Trust me, this will help you do this. On Poshmark, customers file return requests from time to time, and depending on the situation, you can either obviously message back support when they actually have their return request and say, hey, I don't think it should be able to be returned for X, Y, and Z reasons, or you can just accept it, and then you don't have to worry about paying for the cost of shipping back. Poshmark handles that. It's really easy because then you can just return the item completely free. I'm going to show you that at the end of this video on how you can return any Amazon item for free, right? Also, you can return pretty much any Walmart item for free, pretty much any eBay item for free, as long as you don't abuse that. We're going to talk about that briefly at the end of this video. But so understand that Poshmark returns, you don't get that many. I probably get one every 20 or 30 orders-ish, depending. And usually it's my fault. It's when I, ship something that's similar because I couldn't find that product because it went out of stock or something along those lines. Or maybe I mixed up order labels because I was doing it too fast. This happens all the time to me during Q4 when orders are just crazy. So for example, let's say it got broken. Obviously, I'm just going to say that they can return it. If, for example, they realized that they got a different product than they were supposed to, and I was the reason for that because I shipped them the wrong product, then I would own up to that, saying something along the lines of, hey, I have two of these that are very similar, and it looks like I accidentally sent you the wrong one. I'm sorry, this was my mistake, so I own it, and then I let them return it, right? Then the buyer's happy. They don't feel like they got scammed. Poshmark's happy because now we're both amicably handling it, and I'm happy because it didn't ding my metrics. I didn't have to cancel an order, and I'm still able to then return it on Amazon for free or Walmart or wherever. Now, if it is their fault, right? For example, like they say, hey, I didn't realize that this was a small. I wanted a medium even though I ordered a small. Or, hey, I don't like the way that this actually looks on me. Or, hey, I changed my mind. I don't want it anymore. Or something along those lines, I'll typically fight that back because on Poshmark, they're not allowed to just return anything as long as it was listed properly and described properly, right? So if it's the right pictures and it's the right description and they got exactly what they ordered, they're technically not allowed to return it. So you can say that in their return request. Make sure that you say, this was exactly the right condition, description, variation, color. The buyer got exactly what they ordered, and so this isn't returnable. Now, you can return anything on Amazon, anything on Walmart, anything on eBay, or etc. if you tell them it was damaged and it showed up that way, right? Now, this is going to be your call, and you need to make the decision yourself if obviously it's not damaged, whether or not you want to damage it yourself and then ship it back. Because obviously if it showed up damaged, it wasn't what you were expecting, and so they need to honor the return and the refund. Now again, that is an ethical concern, so it's up to you to make that judgment call if you want to do that. I'm just giving you all the tools and then letting you decide what you want to do. But you can return pretty much any product if you say that. You show proof of it, obviously, that would indicate that you do need to damage it yourself, right? So whether you rip it, you break it, whatever, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying that is an option. Again, giving you all the tools from my experience if you want to go that route. Now, on Amazon specifically, you can also return anything by just simply saying it's an inaccurate website description. I'm going to show you that right after I'm done speaking. I'm going to drop a video that I did teaching you how to do that very, very easily so you can return any product for free. Obviously, that's going to increase your margins because you don't have to pay to ship it back, which will then cut into your costs for orders that you're actually not getting profit on, right? So that's pretty much everything about returns and how I handle them on different platforms. Really hope it helps.
What you basically do, here's an example of a skin thing that my girlfriend just ordered. So if I wanted to return this for free and get my $17.99 plus whatever I paid in tax back, then what I would do is I'd simply hit return and replaced items, okay? Now there's many ways to return an item on Amazon, but if you want to make sure that you get all your money back, right, including the tax, what you want to do is you want to select that item, and then when you choose your response, you want to choose inaccurate website description. It's going to ask you for comments and to, basically explain why it's inaccurate. So you can literally say like, not what I was expecting, or, isn't as described, or whatever you want. Now, full disclosure, I don't recommend doing this with a lot of products, obviously. Obviously, you're getting your money back, and the seller that sold that item is going to be potentially out that product because it's going to say that, it wasn't as described, or it might not necessarily go back into their active inventory or inventory that they can fulfill, right? So they might need to either get it sent back to them and then ship it back into FBA, or potentially get it destroyed, okay? So I recommend that you don't abuse this, A, for the sake of the other seller, not that you owe them anything, but just because it's a nice thing to do. And B, because you don't want to be seen with all your certain metrics if you're ordering only like 10 products, right? And you're returning 5 of them for, as inaccurate website description. Well, that's going to look weird in Amazon's eyes usually, right? And it's going to probably tick off the algorithm a little bit, and it's going to look shady, right? So if you're ordering hundreds of products, then what you can do is you can do that every once in a while, right? But I wouldn't recommend abusing it and doing it too much. So if you're ordering a couple hundred products, can you do it 5 to 10 times in a month? Of course. Get your money back for certain items. You shouldn't be running into many issues like all the time anyway, but this is just another tool in your tool belt that you can utilize to get your money back on a product if you need to. Okay.
All right, so what happens if you get an order, right? How do you actually find that product? Well, there's a lot of different ways that you can actually go ahead and find that item. The first thing that you want to do, obviously, is click in. These are orders that I got a while back. So click into the actual item. The first thing that you want to do is obviously the easiest. Just take the actual name of the product, assuming you haven't changed it too much. Even if you have changed it a little bit, you can still probably just paste it into your supplier. So if this is an Amazon one, paste that title into Amazon, and boom, you can see that product is literally right there. If that doesn't work and you can't find it that way, then you can paste it into Google, see if it pops up on Google, and chances are other similar ones. So you can see this is actually on eBay. It's on Shine. It's on Amazon. It's also on Amazon again. That might be, no, that's a slightly different listing. And it's on Dropship Close as well, right? So there's a number of different suppliers that are all giving something very, very similar to this. Now, if that doesn't work, one of the things that you can do that a lot of people don't know is if you're using ZDrop like I recommend, and you click into ZDrop, you'll see that it stores all of your actual inventory, right? And where it was listed. So if you just click down on advanced search, you can search keywords into the title function here. Like for example, we'll say sleeveless striped and see if it pops up. Click filter, and usually the pictures are right here so you can see it a little bit better, but for whatever reason it's not loading right this second. But let's just try to click this first one to see if this is the actual product, and bam, it is. So that's the product right there. So ZDrop stores your inventory automatically when you use it, which is really, really cool. Now, if you search this entire title, sometimes it won't come up. So just search keywords back to back. So you could search like comfy sleeveless, romp or summer, tank jumpsuit, stuff like that, right? And you can search pretty much anything in here, it's going to store it. Now, if that doesn't work and you can't find it in ZDrop using the actual keyword search, that will take you directly to your supplier when you click on the product image. So click on this, it will take me to that product listing. But if that doesn't work, you can't find it on the supplier, you can't find it on Google, and you can't find it searching keywords in ZDrop, one of the best things that you can do is just save one of the images or save a few of the images and do a reverse image search on Google. So just save one of the images. Doesn't matter as what. You can see I literally have it bookmarked here because my VA uses it all the time. You search by image on Google, put that in there, and that should analyze the image and then come back with all the places that it finds a similar image. There we go. It's on Amazon. That one's a little bit more expensive than the other listing, so we could keep trying to find it. a little bit cheaper, but you get the picture, right? So this is going to help you find products once you make sales. Obviously, you should know your main suppliers anyway. I always recommend that people start with, Amazon, Walmart, eBay, maybe even Target potentially, and some others. So you should know your main suppliers anyway. You could just search the search bars there. But if all else fails, do the reverse image search before obviously you cancel the order or you mark it fake shipped or anything along those lines.
All right, so at this point in the course, you've learned the fundamentals of selling. You understand how to create a strong listing, how to use SEO, how to leverage the platform to make and drive a ton of different sales. And while this platform is a fantastic place to start, the truth is there's a much bigger opportunity out there once you're ready to expand to other platforms. So if you want to learn more about retail drop shipping, not just here on this site, but across every major site where buyers are already shopping just like this, then the next best step for you is to enroll in my program, E-commerce Accelerator. Retail dropshipping quite literally changed my life. It is a simple, beginner-friendly business model that anybody can do, as you can see, and it can be profitable from week one. That is not just hype. I designed this program specifically, E-commerce Accelerator, to package up the same strategies that have worked for me and countless others so that you can shortcut the trial and error process and see results faster. Now, over the past several years, my team and I have listed probably tens of thousands of different products, maybe even more than that, across dozens of different websites, tested countless strategies, and built out proven systems that will work for anybody that's willing to put in consistent effort. And here's what's so powerful, right? You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on things like ads to test products. You don't need to spend months building a store hoping that it ranks. You don't even need to risk a lot of upfront money at all, or any money at all for that matter. With retail dropshipping, you're simply leveraging existing marketplaces like this that already have a massive pool of ready-to-buy customers. I mean, imagine taking products from retail websites like this and listing them onto a ton of different websites where people are already actively searching for those products. That is why it's so profitable so quickly, because the traffic is already there, a lot like you've seen, right? And with the tools and the software available today, it is even easier. I mean, product copying software, as you can see, literally takes the images, the titles, and the descriptions from retail pages and recreates ready-to-sell listings for you in seconds. And it even obviously allows you to then mark that price up instantly so that you're building in your profit margin without even having to do any math yourself or any work. The key is, though, consistency, okay? You don't need to be a genius to make this work, but you do have to be what most people won't be, and that is to stay consistent. So the 80-20 principle still applies here. You want to focus on the 20% of actions that are going to bring 80% of the results, and this system in Ecom Accelerator does exactly that. So if you focus on what I teach inside the Accelerator, as you can see, there's a ton of power in that. There is absolutely no reason that you should be making $1,000 profit within your first 30 days. And then obviously from there, scaling is much, much higher. And once you have that reliable income stream, you can even use it as a side hustle if you want that pays your bills, or as a foundation to fund bigger projects without risking your own money. For me, this business model was one of the biggest turning points in my life. I realized that I didn't know everything and I had a lot more to learn, but then when I saw an opportunity like this with little downside risk and massive upside, I decided to jump in, and that decision changed everything for me. So maybe this will be a defining moment for you too as well. So if you're ready to take the next step, here's exactly what you can do. Simply head over to learnecom.net, enroll in E-commerce Accelerator, and you can use the code RETAIL20 at checkout for 50% off. This discount, RETAIL20, is exclusively for the students that are in this course and have watched this far. So if you want the easiest option as well, you could also just click the link attached to this lecture. I will, make it somewhere. It'll be an attachment and then a specific link. So it'll take you directly to the enrollment page with your discount applied. And this is the exact system that I wish I had when I started. It will save you time. It will save you money. It will help you build consistent monthly income right from week one, right from day one, realistically. So bet on yourself, take action, and I'll see you inside Ecom Accelerator. So again, link to this lecture, or you can just go to learnecom.net and then enter your code RETAIL20 when you go to the Ecom Accelerator page.